I think we're live. Let me drop the opening on this thing. Boom. Let's see.
Welcome
There
back
goes the
to
open.
the Hank Strange Situation. Lifestyle.
Make sure you guys subscribe, thumbs up, ring the bell so you can be notified. We are live. Come on, let's do jazz hands, guys. Let's see the jazz hands up in there. Why do we? Okay, we got 13C Joe too many times. Hold on, I gotta take him out one time, and then add Mike, add in Mike from MW Tactical. We are live. I hope you got your big girl panties on. This is episode 394 of the Who Moved My Freedom podcast, coming to you live from the Strange Media Studios. Yeah, that's right. Our title for today is D-Day, Vox, Crowder, and the Adpocalypse, if you guys haven't heard about that.
Adpocalypse 2.0, right?
Yeah, Adpocalypse 2.0, 3.0, some kind of .0 is going on. And we're going to talk about that. We've got Mike from MW Tactical here. Let me put him up. What's up, Mike? What's going on, man?
Not too much. Just sitting here chilling. Same time, just glad to be on and have some great conversation going.
Okay, very cool, very cool. We've also got Joe from 13C Gun Reviews joining us. What up, Joe?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Good to see you.
Yes. And we got Babyface P. He's in here.
What's up?
Babyface P. He's in the house. I'm here. You guys are here. We're coming off of doing the Live with Mac show yesterday. I hope everything's working out good. If things aren't, let us know. I'm going to remind everyone to thumbs ups, okay? Let's try to get as many thumbs ups going, I mean, yesterday we had a whole bunch of thumbs ups, but you guys just can't be coming in only for Mac. You got to represent. We've got like 4 screens. We've got the quad going today. So, and then Joe's got some. Can you hear us, Joe?
I can. I'm good. Just FYI, that link you emailed us is, it looks like that's to show 386 is popping up to me.
Oh, crap. Yeah, am I on the wrong thing again?
Oh, let's find out.
That's probably me. I'm in the wrong.
That's okay. That's all right. I will click over to it and find it, and boom, there it is. I found it.
Yeah, I'm probably
I'm
probably in the wrong show again because I restarted this thing. See? So that, yeah. So if you can, tell everyone if there's 2 things going on right now, tell those people to come over here. Yeah.
The chat says you're looking good, Hank. So
okay, good.
This chat's up.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it was just a link you sent.
Yeah,
you sent out in the email. That's all.
Yeah, we might have 2 things going on. So just tell everyone to come over here, and then we'll have.
Disaster. You are a technical disaster.
I had it set up properly. Lola, of course. Lola.
No, it's working. Working.
Lola
don't
said,
throw Lola under the bus.
I know.
Lola has to go. Lola was born to get thrown under the bus here.
No, it's working correct. I'm looking at the channel.
Yeah.
You're good.
So, okay. See, no one was. Lola didn't do anything. It's all Hank Strange's fault.
It's Hank's fault. It's his channel.
I guess there's 2 things going. That's why I didn't want to restart, because when I restart, I need to select the. Don't worry about it, woman. I got it all sorted out. Don't you worry about it. Don't worry your pretty little head about it. Okay, now she's gonna stand in here
And stare the whole time.
Yeah. I'm going to feel very self-conscious through the rest of this. You don't need to be. We got this.
As a matter of fact, I'm going to stand right here behind you.
No one's going to see you anyway. You're too short.
I'll get up tall.
No one can see you. You're way too short. The people can't see you out there.
What's up, Lola?
Hashtag more Lola, less Hank.
Yeah, whatever.
Started again tonight.
Don't start that nonsense all over again. Yeah, listen, as everyone's coming in here, just thumbs up so that we get this going. And then Patrick, if you can, or Lola, whichever the other one is, someone has to go over there and shut that
There's
one
not
off.
a second one.
There's not a second one? Oh, there's only one?
No,
Okay.
it was just the link that was. Sorry.
No,
link
Joe,
was on?
Hank just does not listen to you.
Yeah.
Just the link. Just the link.
Yeah,
Joe said
too
it
many
like
thoughts.
Four times now, he's like,
Yeah.
It's just the email link that you sent us. That's all it is.
Yeah. You're making my brain thinker think too many thoughts, people. Okay, we gotta slow it down. Slow it down over here. All right. Anyway, everyone coming in, thumbs ups, by the way. And then check out everyone that's in here. So we've got Mike from MW Tactical. Go check out his social media and all those kinds of things. Make sure you guys follow him over there. He's doing a bunch. Mike's got a whole bunch of things that he gets up to, which we'll get into here. Make sure you check out 13C Gun Reviews as well on all his different social medias. Babyface P, of course, he is the newest YouTube billionaire.
About to be. Yep, I'm making it.
Yeah. Have you
Adpocalypse 2.0 starting, and I'm just getting my channel.
Yeah, you're right on time. You're right on time, Patrick. Did you get to 1,000 subscribers yet?
Not yet. As of last night, I was at 750.
750. Okay, come on.
I'm moving along slowly. I'm moving along.
Yeah. Listen, here's the thing. Like I think Mac said last night, he's 950,000 subscribers. He's like 50,000 away from 1 million.
Oh my God!
So let's encourage everyone out there that hasn't subscribed to Military Arms channel, of course, to go subscribe to him, and maybe like 1 or 2 of you could subscribe to Babyface P, 13C Gun Reviews, MW Tactical.
I think we're preaching to the choir, though. I think that's the problem.
In my case, you're not, because I hate to say it, but I mean I follow you on Instagram and everything else, and I've been digging all the pictures of Neckbone, but I don't think I saw anything that said you started your own YouTube channel. I feel horrible.
Yeah. No, go check it out. What?
Literally am
do we
right
have
now.
Do we have to keep a running tab of Babyface P on YouTube? Let's do that.
All right, so something horrible happened here. It says 749. I clicked
somebody
750, and I'm making sure that I'm ringing the bell. You got to ring that damn bell, because if you don't ring it, you're not going to get notifications.
Yeah,
right. I have one. I'm going to work on one tonight and have a video up tomorrow on building out a Ruger American rifle. So
nice.
We have stuff on the way, and I have a ton of content. I sat down with a friend of mine, and planned out a ton of content that we're going to work on. So I should have some stuff that I'm not just going to, like, for the last 6 months I've been like, I'll put out a video, and then I never do. It's actually working. I'm actually putting out content finally.
Yeah. Mine says you've got 754 people.
Oh.
But, yeah. So, yeah, Mike, you're on YouTube also, right, Mike?
Yeah, I'm on YouTube under M-W Tactical.
There you go. Everyone make sure you're subscribed to M-W Tactical as well. Okay? Make sure you do all those things. Let's try to get Babyface to at that. Where are you at, Mike? You probably need to get Mike to 1,000.
On YouTube or Instagram?
On YouTube.
I don't even know what I got on YouTube. I don't even look. Only numbers I look at is Instagram. So.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's
useless tube.
Because that's where the ladies are on. Well, hold on a second. I don't know if Mike's married or not. I don't want to get him in trouble.
No, I'm not married. I'm married.
Oh, you're not married? Okay, yes, because of the ladies. He only cares about Instagram. That's it.
No, it's not even that. It's just I feel like I got more conversational pieces on Instagram, so I can talk to the peoples.
Yeah, you can slip in those DMs easier.
Nah, nothing like that. You know, I value my sleep, so.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, don't try to fool me. I know. I know it goes down in the DM. I heard that song.
Yeah,
it goes down in the DM. Yeah. So. Please listen, subscribe to everyone out there. Let's keep it going. Obviously, there's a whole bunch of social media craziness going on. Before I get too deep into anything, today's D-Day, yo. It's D-Day today, and I think Babyface was giving me a hard time last night. Let me see if I could do this right. I'm going to show. Can you guys see the thing on my head? Can you see it?
Oh, yeah. It still looks pretty good.
Yeah, there you go.
No, it's just because Max said turn more to the right. And you, like, backed up away from the camera. I was just like, oh, my God. It was so painful. That 2 minutes was so painful to watch.
So let me ask you, how long did it take him to actually do that design?
It takes, I think it's around an hour. Maybe a little longer than an hour or so. Yeah.
That dude is pretty skilled with that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I saw it on Facebook. I was like, that's pretty hot right there.
Yeah. So that's my barber, Mo Money the Barber, who is his barbershop is right downstairs from where my studio is here in Gainesville. So if anyone wants to come here and hang out with me, if you make an appointment with Mo Money the Barber, you can come get your hair cut. I'll even come down there, hang out with you a little bit while you're getting your hair cut. You can hang out with me. You know, I'm just saying. I'm putting it out there. See, people say I never say, you know, you want to hang out with Hank Strange? Come get a haircut. You know.
Now, did he do all that by just hand and didn't like trace anything, or did he draw out something first? Or
no, he does that by hand. He's an artist. So,
nice.
so
That's
basically,
crazy.
yeah, basically when I was, so let me see, when was this? In like 1977 when I lived in England, and I started reading and stuff like that. One of the things I started reading was comic books, and one of my favorite ones was Sergeant Rock. I don't know if you guys ever heard of that Sergeant Rock comic book. See, nobody heard of that in America apparently. It's about an American GI.
But it's a British
DC.
thing?
It's DC. It was a comic book. You can look at it, Google it, look it up. Look up Sergeant Rock. Does anyone out there in the chat, have you guys ever heard of Sergeant Rock? It's an American GI, and the comic books followed him. That was one of my first comic books that I was into.
The art is really cool.
Yeah, I love that. I love that thing. And that's basically what's so the idea that I had when I was driving in, I was like, you know what? I should do like a Sergeant Rock, like the World War II helmet, but make it a skull. But then when Mo and I were talking, like, yeah, let's give him a cigar. Give the skull a cigar. So that's how that whole thing came out. We looked up some pictures online. He had a couple of different pictures on his phone, but there was no one picture of what we wanted to do. So he had a couple of different things, and then he just freestyled it in my head. So
That's fantastic. Yeah.
yeah, thanks. So
cool.
he can.
Oh man, Hank, you may have me on a new comic book bender.
Yeah, those
His
Sergeant Rocks were good. I'm surprised
this
you
looks
guys
pretty
never
cool.
heard of it. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, did anyone out there, is it just me that knows about, that must just have been, okay, Chris
British
Bullis
thing.
says Sergeant Rock is awesome. So
I'm not a comic book guy, so
yeah.
I missed out when I was a kid. I totally missed out on comic books. Now as a approaching middle-aged adult, I guess you'd call it.
Good God.
I'm like trying to get back or trying to get into them. But now I totally missed out on comic books.
Yeah. I think that was probably really big in England or something, but I know that it came from America.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty. You know what? We're gonna have to. Let me see. I'm gonna have to.
I'm looking to
Wikipedia
see who
this
made
now.
it.
Yeah, Wikipedia it. See what it
It
says.
is. It's a DC. Yeah, it's totally a DC comic.
Yeah. So Sergeant Hulk is Big Toe. He says, ran in the '60s. I think it ran all the way up to the '80s. To be honest with you. So. Yeah, I read a lot of comic books, but some of them are weird. Like I read Tintin's not really a comic book, but it was kind of like a comic book. Did you guys ever hear of Tintin?
Tintin, that's the dog.
Yeah, the guy, his name is Tintin, and then his dog is Snowy, and there's Captain Haddock, and he had all these adventures. It was like
That's
French.
super British, isn't it?
It's French.
Oh, super French. That's what it is. It's really French.
Yeah, it
I
was.
know nothing of that.
Yeah, it was It was a European thing, so they had it all over Europe. But I discovered that in Nigeria actually. When we first went to live there, we had to like live in this hotel for several months, and I was really bored. And they happened to have all these books in there, so I just collected all of them and read them over and over again. So yeah, that's why I have like weird tastes when it comes to all this stuff. But they made a movie out of that. I don't know if you guys did you see the movie?
Tintin, I didn't see the movie, but I remember when it came out, it was a big deal for people overseas. Like across the pond, it was a big deal.
Yeah, it did. I guess it didn't do anything here in America.
No, it didn't take off here.
Yeah, so there you go. What can I say? I could bring it back. I could make it happen.
What was the time frame on this again?
Tintin?
Yes.
That's been around since the 30s, I want to say. If you look it up, it's probably been around since the 30s.
The movie came out in 2011.
Yeah, the movie came out in 2011, but the comic series or the
I don't know if you don't have kids
novel
or you didn't. If you're an American without kids or didn't grow up with it, then you probably wouldn't have gone and seen it because it's like I think it was like a kids movie. It was a cartoon movie, right?
The movie. I'm not going to say that it was a kids thing. I think Steven Spielberg was one of the producers.
Yeah, he directed it. Box office, $374 million. They did pretty well on it.
Yeah. And it was all animated. It was all animated, pretty well done, and they had some famous people doing the voices in there. But the books that it's based, it's kind of like a graphic novel, I want to say. Really, the comic books were bigger than, but it was kind of like in a graphic novel style. I think that's been around since the 30s. So, yeah.
Yeah, 2011, you said the movie came out, but 2011, I was in Afghanistan, so that's why it probably doesn't ring a bell for me.
That'll do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those
You
weird
mean
things.
you mean you guys in the sandbox weren't watching cartoon kids movies? Come on, man.
What were you guys
Well,
doing?
the way the movies went for us was we had movies on hard drives. You know, so
okay.
somebody would go home on leave. They would download the bootlegs or whatever the case.
You guys
Yeah,
bootlegged it all?
we'll share. Yeah, somebody would get it on their computer, then you give them your hard drive.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh, okay. Were you allowed? I thought that. Okay, so were you guys allowed to see? Were you allowed to see the naughty stuff or no? What was that?
Somebody had to bring that. Come on.
Yeah. Did you get
the
naughty
way it went was, and they started this over the second time over in Iraq.
Mm-hmm.
Was you can get the naughty stuff.
Yeah. We're
DVD,
talking about
yeah.
porn, people. For people who don't know.
And if you saved it to your computer or whatever, so when you go through the customs check, they'll go through all your bags and everything, look through all your videos, and they would only allow you to have so many videos when you go back, because you know when you're overseas, a lot of movies that come out here like in June or July, they are already out in like January, February overseas.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So they put this disc in your computer and they did whatever. And if you had the naughty stuff on it, it would just erase everything.
Oh man.
What a
That's a crime. That's a crime. If you're serving your country, you should be by law be able to have access to porn.
those in the
Yeah,
service
remember,
need the
man.
service.
Yeah, you got to remember, some people get addicted to that stuff and then they put the naughty stuff over priorities of work.
Oh well. Okay.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? So you got to be cautious about stuff like that. And
Yeah, but
understand
listen,
the
I want the soldiers, the people out there serving America, they need to be able to rub one off when they need to, you know. I don't want anything getting in the way of
pop off
that.
in the desert.
Hey, man, I'm
Yeah.
trying to tell you, you know, when you're deployed, desperate times calls for desperate measures. So there should never
We don't
be a time.
want it. Yeah, we don't want it to get too desperate.
No,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, there should never be a time when you go to a porta potty and then you be like, "What is that on the wall?"
Yeah.
That's kind of scary, right
Yeah,
there.
we should probably pivot before Lola tells me off about this line of conversation. Yeah. So anyway, it's D-Day. I should give you guys a chance. What do you guys think about the whole D-Day thing? Let's start with Joe. Joe, you got any thoughts on D-Day today? I know you got to come after all that craziness.
All right, so that segue into what do you think about the whole D-Day thing?
It's relative. It's relative, Joe. Come on now.
You should have gone for pinup girls and then segued.
And
Oh,
then
pinup
say,
girls,
right?
yeah.
Hold on.
Oh.
1 second. What? Maybe?
Uh-oh.
No.
Joe's.
Oh,
If
come
you're
on,
about
here.
to pull
Well-
out some pinup, that's gonna be awesome.
I am. I literally
What?
am. Like right now. All right. Well, here's one from. I forget what.
Oh, yes,
What
Ameri-
vision?
hold on, let's
TNVC. Here we go. TNVC.
Kaboom! Wait, hold, Joe. That's not. You're not giving the camera time to focus, man. Come on now.
No, sorry.
Yeah, slow down. There we go.
Sorry.
Hold
Sorry,
it still,
I'm
Joe.
trying to-
Hold it still. Do
I
it
know
in the
there's-
dark. Oh,
Yes.
that's nice. That's a nice one.
There's. All right. Well, there was a couple of them. I don't know where they went.
Oh.
I don't know. But
Okay.
there were a couple of them.
Well,
that
can we
were
see that one
similar
again, Joe?
that
Since
were
you know.
pinup wise,
Yeah.
you want to see it again?
Yeah,
Okay.
let's see, because you didn't give it a chance to focus.
Did he give it a chance to focus?
Yeah.
All right.
So.
Almost already lost it again.
Yeah. Boom. Okay. All right. Just hold it right there. You're moving around too much, Joe. You gotta keep. Okay. There we go.
Are you trying to screenshot this? What are you doing?
No. Okay, it's good. I want to give everyone a chance to take a look at it.
That's gonna be the thumbnail.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking.
I'm trying to give
there's-
everyone a chance.
I feel horrible because that's like the. I don't want to say most provocative because it's a cartoon. But
Rafael
there are
Morales
actually-
says,
there are
"Dang,
actual
Joe,
some-
slow down."
I got some really good ones, and I don't know where they are that are more pinup girl style. I don't know what happened to them though. I thought they were all right. Anyway,
Yeah.
It's ironically you said that. Anyway, I am not against D-Day. If that's what you're asking.
Boom. No one here is against D-Day.
I did for the special occasion bust this bad boy out.
All right.
Oh,
So,
damn it! I gotta go down. Hold on.
what-
Hold on.
Everybody's
did he just-
everybody's got to bust out one of their World War II guns.
Yeah.
So yeah, the greatest war implement ever devised, according to General Patton.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah,
And,
we're waiting. Let me put it back on you so we can get this in full screen. Okay, go ahead. Show us. Tell us what you're talking about so the folks listening on audio
So
get
the
an
good
idea.
old M1 Garand.
This one looks really nice.
It is. It's a really really nice model. I actually wound up picking this one up at the proverbial gun show, but many moons ago. I have no idea how long
is
ago.
Is this like an original strap here that we got on this one? A sling?
So the strap is definitely a Milsurp strap on here. I can't imagine this stock is original. Because it is just
it looks good.
Fantastic. It's an absolute fantastic condition. The receiver itself here that's in here is actually a surplus receiver. It looks like it's been updated in some different regards, so it's hard to say. I keep meaning to have somebody who knows more about these take a look at it and actually tell me exactly what I have here.
Okay.
But I picked it up at a gun show from some guy who was selling it, and I think he wanted I forget what he wanted. He wanted, I think, like $750, and I offered him $700 cash, and he took it.
That's a good deal.
Yeah. I was more than happy with it. I would have paid $750. I just shot him $700 out of the gate just because.
Yeah.
Just because, and he was like, "All right, fine." Like, okay.
Everybody needs one.
And after I paid him, I realized he just got there. The first person he offered it to, a dealer at the table, offered him $475 or something.
Oh, okay, yeah. So that's why he was like, deal.
Yeah, exactly. So he jumped right on it. And I couldn't be happier with this thing. It has been a boatload of fun, and I should have grabbed an end block.
Have you checked the serial to see when it was made?
I have not, actually. You know what? I want to say I did.
What does the engraving say on it?
So the engraving, half the engravings here are kind of worn off on the top, but you can make out Springfield on it. You can make out the CAL for caliber. You can't make out the rest of the caliber. The very top line is US. You can make out the US, and there's some other letters you can't make out. And the serial number, when you hold it up, you can actually see the serial number on here.
Do you know what it starts with?
A lot of it's worn out, but
what's the first three numbers for the serial?
260.
260. Let's see if I can find.
I was gonna say, I wonder if you called Springfield, if they can better tell you. But then again, I'm pretty sure there's some type of site you can go to that verifies that as well.
So it's a Springfield Armory from 37 to 45. 260 would have been made between May and June of 1941.
Whoa, nice.
Oh, there you go.
That's in the zone.
Somewhere between May and June. I have one.
I'll write that down.
Wait. 260. Is it a million, or are you in the millions, or are you in the 100,000s? Sorry, that's what I also got to check. Is it a million serial number?
It's 100,000s.
You're in the. Oh, there's only 6 digits, not 7.
Oh no, there are 7. Yeah.
Okay, so it's a 7-digit.
Yeah, you can't make out that middle digit there, but yeah.
260 with the 7-digit would have put it at February of 1944.
Wow. Okay.
1944.
February 1944 is when you got it.
Yeah, cool.
Here, so I got 2.
Yeah,
I can show off
that
this one.
Thank you, I appreciate that. I probably at some point could have looked it up, but
this is one that I traded somebody for. So I traded a 1903 Springfield that I built from a receiver. He bought it and traded me his Garand receiver. So this is just a receiver that eventually will have to be turned into a Garand. And this one is a 1.7 mil, so that would make it 1943, June of 1943. Okay. And then this one is my pride and joy. This is a Harrington and Richardson, and I think when I looked it up, it's from the 50s. So this one was in between the wars.
Yeah.
This is unfortunately not a World War II gun, but man, everybody needs an M1 Garand. These things are beautiful.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, what do you think about this? Do you think this stock obviously the stock isn't original, right?
So right on the upper side, right where your face is, down on right about there should be a cartouche. I'll show you here. On this one, on my Garand, if you see here, there's a CMP cartouche on mine because it's CMP made them. Somewhere on your stock would be a cartouche. If it's there, it will tell you who made it, if it's original or not. It looks pretty original, to be honest. It doesn't look.
I mean, it's in
It looks too good, right? I think that's
It
why
might be too good,
why
yeah.
Joe's worried
That's why
about
I'm just
that.
thinking it looks too good, but
Yeah.
It might be an aftermarket.
I don't see anything, but it looks fantastic. I mean, it's got the trap door in the back. It looks,
Yeah.
other than it looking too good.
I mean, I'm thinking if the serial number is a good serial number, then how much does the other stuff really matter? Unless you're really trying to.
We haven't gotten to the point where, because we made so many of them, and because we have them and sell them, we haven't gotten to the point where they're like stupidly collectible. Where you're like, oh, it doesn't have the right stock for this thing. It's a shooter gun. Most people are buying them to shoot them and enjoy them.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't worry too much about that.
Yeah. And
Have you shot it yet, Joe?
I have. Yeah, I shot it. I've shot it a decent amount. I think it's only made it into one video. I did some armor testing, and one of the rounds I hit it. Some of the rounds I hit it with had some AP rounds.
The black tip.
Yeah, that somebody
Stuff
sent me in.
That stuff
That's
is
some
badass.
nasty stuff. The amount of back deformation. It was the level 3+ plates from AR-500 armor, and it was the I think the only round I hit it with that actually. Well, I mean, a lot of them jacked it up. You know, they didn't go through, but this is one of the stoutest rounds to hit it. Let me just put it that way. Even worse than the 7.62x54R steel core stuff. It hits with a ton of authority.
Back when men were men and carried wood and steel.
Yeah. I don't know.
So I'm actually I didn't get a chance. I was rushing to get here to get onto the show, but when this is when our show's done, it'll be 8:00 here my time. So I'm going to go back and fire off an end block.
Gotta get that ting.
Mm-hmm.
That sound is just heaven.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So was there a thing you want? I don't know what is going on with the camera switching right now. I'm trying to get my act together. For anyone who's like, what the hell?
Everything is fixed on my screen, so I just see a tiny little box that's me, and then I see you guys as boxes.
What's going out over broadcast is a little different. And let me just remind everyone, we've got close to 100 people, so let's smash some more thumbs ups if you can, if you guys don't mind. We would appreciate that. Let's get that going. Yeah, so did you want to make a statement on D-Day? We've been talking about this leading up to this because Walter's over there right now. We were talking about it yesterday. We talked about it last week as well. Did you want to say something, Joe, before we move on? No? Okay.
Only on the spot.
Yeah.
Exactly. Hey, yeah,
I'm
do
sure
have
you've
something
seen.
to say about
I'm
D-Day.
sure you've seen stuff and all that going on. Yeah, that's why I'm giving you.
I do. So earlier on our Facebook page, the 13C Gun Reviews Facebook page, I shared something a little different for D-Day.
Okay.
It's actually like a 10-minute Charlie Brown cartoon. And in the Charlie Brown cartoon, Hank, you're probably, we're about the same age. You may, well, I guess if you were younger and you weren't over here during that time period, maybe you don't remember it. But it was a Charlie Brown cartoon like commemorating D-Day.
Okay.
And they have the characters go through, part of Normandy Beach, and they read some placards and they talk about different battles.
Wow, no, I never saw that.
Yeah, and they roll in like some footage from World War II and the invasion and stuff like that. But it's actual footage, but they they kind of put like what we would consider today to be like a filter over it, so it looks even more old timey and kind of blurred outish. At the same time, it's very educational. So it makes me think of how many. Sorry, I'm seeing the comment here for computer lessons for Hank.
Yeah,
$5.
that's for
post because I just shared the link to the show there, and it's like I said, it's like that 10-minute Charlie Brown cartoon of them going around France and visiting the historical sites, from Charlie Brown cartoon special. It's still some comedy interlaid in there with it, but it's actually really cool to look back and see how much cartoons have changed. I mean, now don't get me wrong, I love Rick and Morty to death, but at the same time, looking like kids' cartoons and stuff, some of those, where they actually would take the time to put some educational stuff in there, not like slanted, crazy stuff or anything like
Schoolhouse Rock,
right? Yeah. But something along those lines where you're teaching kids about something that's very historic and momentous, but at the same time it's not in a teaching thing. It was just, I don't know, I thought it was really well done, and it brought something back that I haven't thought of in whatever it's been, 30 years, however old that cartoon was when it came out. And I think we watched it maybe in school. I don't remember, but it was a long time ago. It's like in kindergarten or something, I want to say.
Yeah,
that was great.
Yeah, I've got to look that up because I did watch that cartoon. and I've seen it, Charlie Brown, but I've never seen that one. So very cool. Let's see, who should we put next on the spot here to talk about that? Let's put Mike.
Okay, what are we talking about?
Yeah, so this whole D-Day thing, do you, do you recognize D-Day? What do you think about it? Obviously, you're a veteran.
Oh yeah,
you've served your country. I think, Joe, were you in the military? I don't think so.
Yeah.
So you're the only one of us who's been in the military here.
Yeah, so D-Day is more like Memorial Day for me. It's a day of reflection because without D-Day, you do know and understand we wouldn't probably have the life that we have today, or the actions that took place on the beach and that whole battle. So that one accomplishment led to many other victories that were able to take place. So being in the military, like I said, if you've been a history buff, you have to do your research. So everything that took place before the actual beach invasion and everything during it is history. So it's just not going there. So, but if you do your research, you can understand a lot of people that were involved in it. So you had the first session of the frogmen that were on the beach looking at the pillars that was used to deter the amphibious to come on the beach.
Yeah.
So that was the early version of the Navy SEALs. So that's one part of it. And then you had the other part of it, like the vehicle, not the vehicle, but the vehicle squadron, like the other vehicles that actually took the troops who didn't jump in to the various portions so they can do the various checkpoints and outposts to keep operations going. So D-Day to me is more, like I said, a reflection of Memorial Day. So I kind of celebrate Memorial Day 2 times.
Yeah. It's there's so many iconic things about that, right? Like what were those things called again? Those X-looking things that they put on the beach to slow down the assault or the approach.
Tank traps.
I call them the steel grids. That's what I call them.
Oh, okay. What did you call them, Patrick?
Tank traps.
Tank traps.
Prevent tanks from moving up.
Moving forward. Yep.
Yeah. Those you've got those things. You've got I see lots of people putting up the pictures of the guys on the boats, like moving in, and you could just see all these guys like sitting there on the boats. If you remember, Saving Private Ryan was pretty like visceral. The opening of that movie. I'm not really. I'm trying to think if there's another movie that's had an opening like that. Because I think just the opening of that movie alone can live on its own. Right, so you've got all those different things. One of the things that always sticks in my mind is the bunkers up on the beach. That the Germans were in those and those things look solid, man. It looks like a layer fortress of doom from some bad guy.
They designed them. The Germans built them. I can't remember how many feet of concrete they made them out of, but it was enough that they wanted them to withstand like any sort of barrage that they could take. So you could just sit in there and gun and not have to worry about being blown up.
Yeah.
They were crazy things.
I think you could take a tour of that now, like the actual beach, and then you can go up in the mountains and see what the enemy was looking at coming to the water. But I think that's a tour you can actually pay to go on now.
I would love to do that.
Yeah. So
I told Marley, I'm interrupting a little bit. Sorry.
No, I was going to ask you what you wanted to say about D-Day first. So, go ahead, get that in.
When men were men and guns were made out of steel and wood. But I actually texted Marley today, and I was like, in 25 years, if not before, I want to be in France for the 100-year celebration of D-Day because I feel like it's going to be a huge thing.
Yeah, let's make a date. I'll probably be really old.
Yeah.
You'll be the guy pushing my wheelchair.
That's right.
Yeah.
I wonder if they still have that big cannon, that machine gun cannon. That was the main one that was in the mountain.
No.
I wonder if that's still there.
Gotta ask Walter when he comes back what they still have available.
Yeah.
Did he actually go to that site when he's over there?
He's in Normandy.
He's in Normandy today. Today they're there. Yeah.
Yeah, he's there. I'm trying to see. We could check on.
He was saying the French treat this like their 4th of July, big celebrations and everything for their like freedom. So it's a real big deal with them.
Yeah, I mean, he did a pocket dump. I'll throw it up here on the screen for people.
I texted him after he did that, and I was like, pick me up one of those pocket knives.
Yeah,
Tell me
that
how much
pocket
it
knife
costs.
is awesome.
Isn't it cool?
Is he gonna be able to get it back over here?
We hope.
In the luggage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can see his
Prison
guy's
carry.
passport.
Walter's
Yeah.
got a prison carry
Yeah.
a bunch of pocket knives for us.
Put it in the old. Yeah, that's the text I'm going to send Walter right now. I'm gonna send him a
Sometimes
text.
you got to take one for the
Yeah.
team.
That's right.
Place one of those pocket knives.
And or 10.
Pocket knives in your prison wallet for me. I'm not kidding. I'm actually writing that.
Yeah, I texted him earlier and I was like, pick one up. Just tell me the price. I want one. Because it's really cool. They're really neat.
Yeah. I think Walter's having a good time over there. There's lots of folks, so
He is.
he is throwing up things, but I think he's so busy and all that. That's why we haven't, heard from him. This is like really his vacation for the year, and it's a really important thing to him. And he's of course like he's in a military vehicles group and all that kind of stuff. So very important for him. And even just from his background, you guys have heard Walter say before, like, his family was basically, the Nazis affected his family. So, that's how they wound up coming over here to America and all that. I don't have to tell you guys, but I'm sure when he gets back, he'll download all of that to us. So,
He's going to have a lot to talk about.
Yeah. Ray Bozzolo says, my dad was in the Battle of Okinawa, took him to see Saving Private Ryan. He left in tears first 15 minutes.
Oh, man. My great uncle, who passed away maybe 6 years ago, was a Marine in the Pacific. Well, more than just in the Pacific. One was in the Pacific. They also went on to Vietnam and Korea. But there's a book that was written, and he showed me the snippet in the book, but basically the guy had wrote a story about his group. He was on Okinawa, I think it was. He was a artillery guy, and they were in this little lagoon where their artillery was set up to shoot towards the Japanese, and a Japanese submarine came up in the lagoon like 40, 50 feet away from them. And the commander like opened his hatch and was like looking around, I guess, to figure out where they were or something. And all of them grabbed their rifles and were just shooting at this like submarine that had just come up.
Probably
and the
pinging
captain
off.
was like, oh shit. He like closed it and they went back under and took off. And I think there was a story because the captain actually survived the war. And I think he had the same story on his side where he was like, we came up in this lagoon and got shot at by guys with rifles.
As it should be.
Yeah, but no, he was a great uncle, was a badass.
Yeah. That's the unfortunate thing, right, guys? This is like the 75th anniversary, and most of these dudes are in their 90s.
Yeah, they're
getting
old.
Yeah, they're getting old. They're disappearing from the world. Of course, we still have veterans from, unfortunately, from lots of different wars. But these guys that fought in World War II, like I think they've gotten the moniker "the Greatest Generation." They are fading out of the world, unfortunately. So we have to try to do what we can to make sure that people remember that, because they don't teach a lot of this stuff in school anymore. People don't know about it. People don't seem to care. They think it doesn't matter. The world will never get to that again. If we forget, it's definitely going to get there. So that's the thing. So that's why I'm saying, yeah, man, I think that more of us need to try to go out there, remember these things, and do things. Me included. I'm not some kind of saint. There's lots of things that I don't pay attention to. We have to try to remember these things. Because this is where these guys changed the fate of the world. Can you imagine the world if the Nazis, what Japan was trying to do, and who else? Let me see. We had the Nazis, Japan. You had Italy, in some
Italy,
cases.
who did nothing.
Yeah, but on their side, if these guys had really won, what kind of world would be living in right now?
It'd be awful. But to rag on the Italians a little more, I don't know if you are aware, but their Carcano rifles were so bad that if a German would die next to them, they would throw their Carcanos and grab the Mauser rifles, because the Mausers were like creme de la creme the rifle world.
Yeah.
Garganos were terrible.
I mean, I think they created some troubles in Africa and stuff like that. I think
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and the Japanese were about to tear shit up, dude. They weren't
Japanese,
messing around.
yeah.
Japanese weren't messing around. No, not at all. They were they were ready to bring it.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely, if the Germans, man, have you ever looked at those videos or TV shows that talk about what if the Germans had like another 5 years, just 5 years to develop stuff like the things?
Well, I'm sure it would have been totally different in
Yeah.
the worst way possible.
Yeah, the things they had in the works. I mean, remember we grabbed people from Germany, and the Russians did, and the space race, all kinds of things came out of that. So imagine if those guys really had a chance to seriously keep developing weapons and things. We
were really lucky. Well, I don't know how much luck it was, but strategically we were smart enough to remove their a lot of their infrastructure, which is part of what hurt their war machine. Was they ran out of steel, they ran out of fuel, which us as Americans, we had all the allies, we had plenty of infrastructure, and we had people at the time, which is crazy that we don't have that now, but we had people at the time that were willing to work 12-hour shifts 5 or 6 days a week to use that infrastructure to make wartime tools and guns and ammo, anything we needed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was really all hands on deck, everyone going after it. Did any of you guys watch any of the stuff? I know, obviously, Trump had a speech, and there were different things going. I watched a little bit of it this morning.
I haven't seen it.
I'm not super happy. I'm going to tell you guys, I'm not super happy with Trump right now. But I still watched it. He's the president. He's over there doing the thing. I'm not happy with what's going on with the suppressors. You guys have any opinion of that? This whole suppressor issue?
I purposely wore this shirt today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In direct response to that.
Yeah, and what does it say? Democrat scratched out, Republican
liberty
scratched out, liberty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really disheartening.
That's
to
the
see.
word I would use.
Yeah, it is disheartening. I mean, it's not necessarily a surprise at this point. With how he's been talking and kind of going along. Ever since the whole bump stock thing came out. And I meant, if I was going to be home earlier today, I meant to catch your talk yesterday with Mac, because I know that was a principal point of your thing yesterday. But yeah, it's just you would think, at least I would think he would know his son was allegedly a fan of suppressors.
A huge supporter of suppressors.
Big time, yeah.
Right. So I mean,
I don't think he cares.
No,
maybe not. I mean, you would think with him having all this stuff, with allegedly caring about what his kids are doing and thinking, and making them as part of different cabinet persons and whatnot. I mean, you would think there would be a little bit more thought there. Someone in his position would rely more on experts, or at least other people who know more about the subject.
Yeah. Do you think that the kids are a serious part of the cabinet? I'm sorry, Patrick.
No, I was just gonna say, on that same topic though, I think this is him, which he does this often, him just talking out of his ass, and he's too busy overseas at the moment with meeting the Queen and doing the D-Day stuff to have anybody in his ear telling him, no, we support suppressors, don't say that. Like, that's my thought, is he's just speaking out of his ass, and there's no thought behind it. And I'm hoping that nothing comes of it. I actually did a couple searches yesterday for Trump, just Trump, President Trump, things like that. And it's not being pushed in the media. I think because we all love our cans so much, are really focused on it. But from a media standpoint, from the left, it doesn't look like they're really harping on it. They've already moved on to, we should impeach the president. Everybody says let's go for impeachment. So I think it's a lot of him just talking out of his ass, and he doesn't have somebody chirping in his ear telling him, no, don't say that.
I disagree with that one.
Yeah,
you think so?
Me too. I disagree. Go ahead, Mike.
I totally believe everything he says is taking place. So when you sit there and you look at it, if you're not a citizen here, we're going to deport you. And everybody was thinking he was talking about illegal aliens, but it's starting to really affect everybody right now that has the green cards, the visas, And if for whatever reason, there's a lot of people I know here in the Columbia, South Carolina area are getting deported because of that new rule. Just like another thing, he had actually said in a speech a couple months ago in regards to truck drivers. The truck driver is going to be taken care of. Well, they are being taken care of. Now they just got to pay a little bit more in taxes because their per diem is getting taken away. So whatever he said, I didn't hear the speech he said about cans in regards to he didn't like them. I just saw a couple memes on them. But now, what does that mean? Okay.
It
you
was
going to pay a
so,
little bit more for them, or are you going to take them away?
To me, it felt like it wasn't any speech he gave. It was like some reporter asked him, "What do you think of suppressors?"
Yeah, it wasn't some reporter. It was actually Piers Morgan.
Piers Morgan asked him about it.
Who he spoke to after Las Vegas. He spoke to Piers Morgan, and Piers Morgan brought that up. If you go look at this video, I think The Truth About Guns has a link on their page to it if you guys want to find it. We were talking about it yesterday. But Piers Morgan brought up the whole bump stock thing to him back when the shooting in Las Vegas happened, and Trump said, "Yeah, we're going to do something about that." Well, we're living that today, people. So that wasn't a joke, and he had this conversation.
What did they do? So I guess the question then is, what would they do?
I'm not sure what they would do.
Realistically, what would they do? So with the bump stocks, what they did was they said, okay, this piece of plastic is a machine gun, and that by definition put it under the '86 ruling, can't have new machine guns, and that banned it. Suppressors are already regulated.
They are.
It's not a machine gun. What could they do about them? They can't just outright ban them. Well, can't say can't.
Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
I personally would assume, and this is just me, I asked myself that same question. I've been thinking about that for part of the day today, not a lot of the day. I was going to say most of the day. No, a little bit. And my thought behind it would be, obviously they can push it through the House. They're going to have to do something legislatively. I don't really see what they could do other than possibly requiring a Clio signature. They could kind of bring that back. I think maybe. But other than that, I don't see what they could do other than do something legislatively. And obviously through the House right now, with Pelosi on the floor, it would definitely get a vote. Whether it would pass out of the House or not, probably a good chance it would. The question would be in the Senate, how likely it would be to get through the Senate. And at this point, I think if the House and Senate passed it, Trump would sign it. So the question would be, could it get out of the Senate? Yeah. I don't know the answer to that.
So I think we
not
can't.
in the midterm.
We can't rely. No, that's cool, man. I know you're trying to get some stuff in here. I think we can't rely on politicians, Republican, Democrat. No. We can't rely on them. Yeah. So if they try to go that route, I think they can very easily put something together, because those guys don't really care about suppressors. I think they're all pretty much in line with this. I know there are folks who do. I get that. But remember, with the bump stocks, he didn't do legislation. He just did an executive order, asked the ATF to look at it. Yes, it's already regulated, but that doesn't mean the ATF can't look at it and make it more regulated and put things in the way of what already exists. And then as someone said last night, hey, remember, we're all registered. Everyone who owns suppressors, it's registered. So it's not like the bump stocks. They could come to you, and they could retroactive on this. This is what he did with the executive order he put through, and then the ruling that the ATF came up with. They can go retroactive on stuff and go, okay, you have this, but no, we're changing that now. So the fact that you have it doesn't mean that you're good and you're going to get grandfathered in. So I think we're really living in like a limbo here. It's a serious thing. I know there's people saying, oh, nothing's going to happen. Well, he already did stuff, and he did it pretty decisively. And then we're fighting it. Who knows when that's going to go through? A year, 2 years before the Supreme Court looks at it. I think, I would not, like Mike said, I would not look at this and go, yeah, Trump's just talking out his ass right now.
I've been saying that since day one.
Yeah.
Because if he says it, he's doing everything he said he was going to do. It's just we don't like the outcome of it.
Yeah. No one's happy here.
Now, do we have the numbers for how many suppressors are actually out there? I saw some numbers thrown up that in 2017 there were allegedly, roughly 1.3 million registered silencers on the books in 2017.
Huh.
Really?
That's what I saw. Now, I also saw numbers from Silencer Co. Silencer Co. Their numbers for last year, it was either last year or 2017. Anyway, they've been averaging 18,000 cans a month.
Wow, good for them.
Now, Silencer Co. is their. A guy once said Silencer Co. is the Walmart of silencers, and it's somewhat hard to argue with that.
Yeah.
But they make the Silencer Co. itself. They've got some people who have a cult following with them, and they make up a large part of the silencer market. Large part of the silencer market. I've seen numbers all over the place. It's hard to tell. If somebody showed me a number that said 50%, I probably wouldn't dispute it. They make up a huge part of the silencer market. But let's take that 50%. If they've been doing 18,000 cans a month, that's nearly 250,000 cans a year just from them. You figure if they're half the industry, that's 500,000. In 2 years, we've increased 1 million cans, which would put us at 2.3 million, which is possible because from what I've seen from all the work that I've been doing with silencers over these past few years, feedback on the channel from people and getting more into the NFA sphere, it seems like cans have been selling like hotcakes these past 2 years. There was that lull during when people thought the HPA was going to pass, but as soon as that dropped, as soon as the last time wait times dropped, there was a huge rush. And I know for me personally, I have, since October of last year, I've got 6 cans pending right now. So now, obviously, I'm just one person, but at the same time, there's definitely sales have increased, and I've seen a ton of new people, especially since Silencer Shop did that kiosk thing, getting into the game that never did before. I have several friends who never even considered it because they just didn't want to deal with the paperwork. Now you just show up to the thing, you do your thing, and that's it. And of course, once somebody does it once, then whether you're going to use their kiosk again or something else, you're just you realize it's not that big of a deal.
And once you get one can in your blood, it's a problem. Let me tell you from experience, it's a problem.
Once you make that initial jump, you're in. You're like, well, at this point, what's it matter?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hank's got 5 of my cans sitting over there that I need to transfer.
Yeah.
Sitting at his SOT. So eventually, I'll pay the $1,000 to transfer them.
Yeah, these are very useful. These are very useful things. I mean, just for your hearing.
So I think, and this is Hank and we're talking about. I told Hank that I have a lot of videos in the works, or I said that at the beginning of this. Silencers is one of those that I want to do soon, just to sit down, stare at the camera, and talk about silencers, because there's a lot of mystique around them for no reason. There's nothing special about them. It's a muffler, the same technology that's a muffler in a car. They're not as quiet as Hollywood makes them out to be. There's just a lot of this like misconception, and people want to think there's something that they're not. And I think education on silencers in general would be good for the gun world. For
absolutely. Sure. More. I would like to see more stuff. For example, I went to a suppressor only event here in Florida.
I bet it was beautiful.
At Aries.
It was quiet.
Heaven.
Yeah.
Heaven on earth.
Yep.
Heaven on earth. Everything suppressors, full auto. Everything was suppressed. You could actually walk around and talk to people while people were shooting. I'm not saying that you don't have to. Anyone who actually uses suppressors knows you should probably still wear hearing protection. I mean, unless you're using subsonic 22s, it's still going to make noise, and continued exposure to that obviously is going to damage your hearing. We were so close, right? If you remember, everyone was like, "Oh, these things are going to come off the NFA." They had the political cover to do it, and then Republicans refused. They said, "Wait till the midterm." They
sat on their asses.
Yeah, I don't think they wanted to do it in the first place. We know about it. We know how useful it is, right? We know why this was something really important and something that they could have done that we all would have been like, yes, okay, this was worth it. But these guys didn't do it, and that's the reason why I think that it's not just Trump that feels this way. I think it's other Republicans out there that really feel this way, and whatever it is in the zeitgeist of people in the world, in America, because of movies, they think, oh, these are horrible things. We one of these podcasts, we had a big gamer come on and said the suppressors are for people who want to kill people. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. So this is the kind of thing that we're going up against and that we're dealing with. We try to explain that to him. He was a gun guy. He had guns. He bought guns. He was like, oh, but the only reason you would get this is because you want to kill someone, which is the most absurd, asinine, ridiculous thing that I ever heard. There's lots of good reasons why you would want to have suppressors. And then we get this one. This is probably, I don't know. Was this the first time? I don't think couldn't have been the only time someone used a suppressor to do something like that. We don't even know what he used.
It's one of few.
For a mass murder, I think this is the first.
Yeah.
Well, at least post 1940s, it's the first time, because there were some incidents of some of the gangs back in Chicago and stuff like that back in the day, at the height of the gangs, where there was a little bit of stuff like that. But I mean, as far as in recent memory in our lifetimes, I think this is the first time in a mass murder a silencer's ever been used.
And they just jump all over it. We don't even know what he used. Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
I was going to say, has anybody seen the video of any of this shooting? Because, they have some of those cans you can put on a gun that's really not a suppressor.
It just looks like one.
It looks like
Have you seen a video of this thing?
No, I haven't seen it.
No, I haven't. I don't think there's anything that's been released that I've seen.
Yeah. So for people to sit there and say suppressor was used in this attack,
it could have been a phone
we actually know it was just something that looked like one and it wasn't?
We have no idea.
Exactly.
They haven't released any pictures of the actual weapons used either, I don't believe.
No,
because that's always the first thing I look for.
Yeah, but Virginia is quick to say they're ready to ban silencers and suppressors in that area.
Yeah.
Let's see if maybe anybody in the chat might know. We'll throw this out there to them. Do we know for sure if he used a real suppressor? Do we know if it was actually a whether he acquired it legally or not? Was it actually a made? Was it a factory suppressor, or was it one of those things that you can buy one of those adapters from Wish.com or Wishlist, and make your own illegal one in your backyard or whatever?
That was my
something
question.
like that. Because from there are people who were on TV who were on different floors who said they heard the shooting and they knew someone was in the building was shooting because they called from other floors. Now if he was shooting a suppressed 45, anybody on that, I would think that on different levels it would be much more difficult to tell what the sound was on different levels. Anybody on that floor probably should have known what it was, but on different levels, how well would they have heard? And who knows how well this building was constructed? I don't know. But at the same time, I'm in my mind, for all the 45s, that I've shot suppressed, if they were on different floors,
you wouldn't have heard
I don't think they would have heard something, but I doubt they would been able to tell it was gunshots. At least in my opinion.
Yes.
So that makes me think that either maybe he had it in the car and he didn't bring it in, or he had some kind of fake, piece of crap that didn't work properly. I don't know.
Yeah. We probably will never know, right? We have no clue what happened in Vegas. We will never know.
I was just about to say, Stephen Paddock, we have no idea.
Yeah, we have no idea.
I would think that for sure, the ATF would have already come out and said this guy used a legally registered silencer if he did. Let's see. Axes and Armament is saying, I read it was a legally bought suppressor, but can't remember the media source. He had 2 pistols and one suppressed, one not suppressed. I do remember them saying
it's not outside the realm of possibility for him to do it. He bought the guns. Look, all of that is like a moot point.
He had bought firearms over, I think, they gave the years. So he was buying them over a period of years. So if he wanted to buy one, he certainly had the money he was one of the head I don't think he was the head, but he was one of the main engineers for the county or city, whatever.
Yeah. He had the money and the time to get it.
For the money, the time, and the ability to do it if he wanted to do it.
Listen, I think, we can argue about this. I mean, obviously, like you said, we're preaching to the choir, but ultimately here, there's lots of things that kill people in America, right? There's that doctor that basically killed 25 of his patients.
I just heard about that last night.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gave him fentanyl to kill him.
Yeah, and I think there's a nurse in Australia or someplace.
She was doing the same thing.
There's a nurse somewhere that killed like 85 people.
That was overseas, and I don't remember if it was like Australia or New Zealand.
Right.
Or maybe South Africa.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing the picture and going through the story, and Oh God, it was something like 80. It was ridiculous how many because she was on a intensive care. It wasn't regular ICU, it was SICU, and wherever she was at. So I mean, she was dealing with a lot of patients who were very, very ill at the time. Anyway, so the amount of people who passed away on her shift was not a big deal. Much more exaggerated, but because of the position she was in, she was able to go for a long way.
Yeah.
So that was, I remember reading that, I was like, holy, that's like one of the most successful serial killers of all time.
Yeah. And the thing, and here's the thing, the point that I want to make about that. The medical industry, doctors, hospitals kill lots of people, hundreds of thousands of people every year. It's a thing. Now, we could say, regulated. It's very regulated.
You can't get much more regulated.
Yeah, suppressors.
It's very regulated, but it still happens. I was looking at something, one of these, these crazy, what's the name? I think it's John Oliver that's on HBO. He does one of the talk shows, and I get it. These guys are real leftist and all that kind of stuff. But I was looking at something he did talking about medical devices. And the medical devices they put in people and what those things do. These are huge, massive problems. They kill people. They bring people lots of pain, create lots of destruction. It's already regulated, just like a whole bunch of things in the world. And what can we do about it? It happens, unfortunately. If you look at those numbers versus what happens with guns, very small thing, and what we're doing is trying to take away. We already have a situation now in Virginia, in this building, no one was able to defend themselves. Virginia.
Yeah.
Let's just think about that for a second. Okay? We're talking about a place that it's not difficult for people to get a CCW, to have guns. There was no one there. That they had to wait for the cops to come in and go after
across
this guy.
The street.
Yeah.
The cops that were across the street.
Yeah,
well, they didn't have
across the street.
Yeah, the cops didn't have a way of getting in there. I don't think they could easily get in because they didn't have the card or whatever to get into the building.
Well, they were able to get into the building, but they weren't able to get into secured areas.
Okay, to go to certain floors or whatever. But there was no one there. This is my point. Already in America, the way that we have things now, there was no one there that was able to defend themselves. If we just keep adding more laws to this, that number is going to just keep getting halved and quartered and brought down to nothing. And we're still going to have this. We're still going to have people wanting to bring destruction and damage to other human beings. And we're taking away people's ability to do anything about it. And we're still going to have home invasions and all kinds of stuff going on. Things that because we're gun guys, we talk about this all the time. These things happen every day. No one cares about that someone was able to save their kids, defend their home. No one wants to have that conversation.
I always said the conclusion to getting rid of guns, even if you say guns are illegal, right there, you just open up the doors to a more corrupt society.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. Did you see the story right out of you guys' South Florida? Lady who held their intruder at gunpoint. There was a mother who was home alone with her 3 or 4 kids, held the intruder at gunpoint for 26 minutes, waiting for Hendry County Sheriff's Office.
26 minutes.
26 minutes.
Jesus.
Now their initial thing is the initial call she placed to them was, and this is a really crazy story. Their initial thing was that the initial call she placed was a suspicious person. Because the very first call she made was suspicious person. Said there was somebody outside of her house snooping around. So they did suspicious person's call. And within, I forget the exact timeline, but within a few minutes later, she called back and she's like, hey, yeah, this guy was in my garage. I've got him at gunpoint. And there's like 3 or 4 follow-ups to that. Like, where are you guys at? What are you doing? And then the neighbors across the street are calling. And another one calls and says, hey, my husband went over there to help this, she's a mom home alone. My husband went over there with his gun to help her to hold this guy at gunpoint because, where the hell are you people?
Yeah. Because it's not as simple as that. The more time that guy has, the more time he has to look for an opportunity, a window to do something to her.
Yeah. So, of course, the neighborhood residents are just, it looks like, one of those little, one of those like small county roads and areas, but the houses in them look decent. It's not like I don't know, it's not totally in the middle of nowhere, But
You
yeah,
guys-
it's crazy to see that, and and of course they apologize, but it's 26 minutes. That's insane.
Have you guys been in any sort of adrenaline fueled anything really? I used to do theater, and we always talk about like stage time feels like so much longer than real time. 30 seconds on stage sometimes feels like it's stretching out like 5 minutes. Can you imagine with the adrenaline and everything for 26 minutes? That had to feel like hours standing there with that guy. It had to feel like an eternity.
I cannot imagine that. The closest thing I ever got to that was as a firefighter and EMT. There were a couple crazy situations I got into, just that were, from a patient standpoint, I was dealing with something that was well above pay grade for being in the field. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, you feel like it's an eternity, especially when, you're riding on the engine as an EMT, and your ambulance crew who's got your medic on it is called out to another thing. And I was in the county, so the next ambulance over out in the middle of the county, because I was, being young and new, I was, always in the middle of nowhere. Mm-hmm. At the worst, crappiest places, countywide, and it was ridiculous. Wait, and you're like, oh my God, you do the best you can, but at the same time, you're like, this person needs treatment that I just can't provide.
Yeah, when you live through something, it goes very slowly. When you remember it, it goes very quickly.
Exactly. Very true.
Yeah,
very
that's the crazy thing about those stressful situations. I think I think the words that you guys said, that is disheartening to see what's happening. I'm really worried about it, and I think that we've got kind of like this mass hypnotization, or hypnosis that's going on with America, with the gun guys in America. There's a lot of gun people here where they just think this is not going to happen. They just have faith based on the letters at the end of who's in office. That R makes them think somehow these guys are not going to, lessen the Second Amendment, and then it's happening every day. Every single day,
absolutely.
Things happening.
We can't sleep on this. Where was it? Eric posted a link to, and I mean, it's one little thing. We need to be calling our congressmen, both representative, both senators, let them know how we feel. There's also a petition that Eric posted earlier, and it's gone now. It's scrolled up.
Yeah, someone. Let me see. Where is it?
We need to repost that. Get 100,000 signatures on that, so we can at least. It's every step that we can take, especially if it's easy as going to that petition site, put in your name and email address, and boom, bang it out.
I'm sure you could find it if you search suppressor petition. Trump,
it is. I'm gonna go through this thing here and look, because I clicked on it and I closed it out. I don't think I still have the link on me. Yeah. I can find it. Otherwise, I could ask Eric if he's still in the chat to repost
now,
it.
while we're on this subject, I'm just going to talk about this before we go over to the Vox thing and what happened. Okay, do you have it there? Okay, throw it up in the chat if you can. But while we're on this, I just want to pull this up. So here's a headline I found, factcheck.org. I'm sure someone's going to complain about it, whatever. Obama misrepresents U.S. gun laws. So basically, so here we go. In remarks at a technology conference in Brazil, former President Barack Obama misrepresented U.S. gun laws, claiming that anybody can buy any weapon without much, if any, regulation, including machine guns.
Well, it's crazy. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah. You could do things no matter what you could do whatever you want to do. Does that make it legal? No. No.
Exactly.
There's plenty of people committing crimes every day. There's all kinds of things that we think, whatever. Come up with whatever you think is a crime. There's people doing it every day. Every single day. Mm-hmm. How many crimes are even caught? How many people actually punished behind those crimes? How many things do we even think are
Remember, the war on drugs has totally worked. Don't forget about that.
Yeah, I don't even believe in the war on drugs. That's so stupid.
Exactly.
It worked putting money in certain people's pockets.
Yeah, or putting a lot of people in prison. It worked for that crap. But in reality, I don't think it's really done anything. Awesome.
Eric and Lola have both posted it up and and Lifestyles Locked and Loaded have posted it up in the chat there. So if you haven't, check out the chat on the side of the YouTube, and be sure to. I'll share that on social media as well later.
Yeah,
share that around, and don't forget to
Yeah. Go ahead, Joe. Finish that. Don't forget to contact your congressman. I think you.
Definitely contact your congressman. I guarantee that by the end of the day, at some point, Gun Owners of America should have a petition, or not a petition, but a link to their site where you can contact your congressman through there. That's a really easy way to do it, is through them. Mm-hmm. You can send out emails to all of them and call. Yes. It only takes an extra minute to make those phone calls. And we've gone through the thing. An email, I forget what the thing was. An email basically represents 5 to 10 people. A fax equals like 10 to 20 people. The phone call is equal to like 100 people for the amount of people who actually make a phone call. Yeah. So literally that's how they break it down as to how important it is to people, because taking the step to sign a petition, while as important and as good as it is, it takes literally 5 seconds. Yeah. To send an email, especially, it takes, 7 seconds, right? But to make that phone call is a specific time where you actually sit down, you have to pick up the phone, you have to look up the phone number, you have to get connected to somebody who can take your message. That is a huge thing for politicians. It doesn't matter. I've talked to a number of different politicians, both on the federal and state level. Phone calls mean a lot. Yeah. So, and I can't stress that enough, especially over something like this. We have to be vigilant, because we're going to wind up with the same thing that happened with bump stocks. We're like, they're not going to do anything. It's 3D, 4D, 29D chess, whatever. And no, but all it takes is for one. It may not even take one more event to happen with silencers for them to do something. But I guarantee you, if they were looking for something, they've got one now allegedly that's there, they'll do another one. Well, maybe not they'll do another one, but if another one does happen or anything, if they even catch somebody with an illegal silencer, they're gonna throw the hammer down on it, because they've already said they don't let a good tragedy go to waste.
No, they never do.
So, and that's pushing on one side. We look back, and I've said it before, I'll say it again. Democrats talk about passing gun legislation. Republicans pass gun control. Trump's done gun control. You look at Bush Sr. did gun control. Reagan, we're living under that tyranny that he signed off on. So, you look at basically all the gun control we're living under now on the federal level has been signed off on by Republicans. The Clinton ban is gone. Obama, over 8 years, did nothing negative for the Second Amendment, and in fact, he actually signed pro-gun bills while he was in office. That's the reason why we can legally carry in federal on federal parks now, right? So, and by all means, I'm not saying vote Democrat. That is not what I'm saying. But my point is that, like we've been saying here all night, we cannot go to sleep just because somebody has a letter R behind their name. We can't do it.
Absolutely. Babyface, you want to say something?
Yeah, it was just a question. I've never actually called a representative before. I've always done the email thing. Do you just literally call and leave a voicemail? Yeah. Like, how does that work?
So generally speaking, when you call, depending on where they're at will be depending on where I call, because you're going to have a local office there in your area, and then you have the federal number. I usually, when these things come up, I'm calling the federal one, and you'll get you'll 9 times, if it's during the day, and I always purposely call during the day. You can call after hours if you want. I call during the day. Literally, somebody's going to answer the phone, and they'll put you on hold for a second, and they'll let you talk to a staffer. You won't talk to your representative, but they'll let you talk to a staffer. They'll take down your information, and then normally they will send back. They will send you some kind of letter in the mail. Normally it's a generic chain letter saying, whatever. But they will actually send you a hard copy letter in the mail. With
so
some sort of.
You'll typically talk to a person though.
Yeah, so you will talk to a live person.
Go ahead, Mike.
To
9 times
put
out
it
of
in
10.
perspective for you, Babyface, I did a congressional in the Army. So what I actually did was I contacted the congressman for the base I was at in that area. Like Joe said, when you call, somebody will take your information, your name, the district you live in, and the reason why you're calling. All right. And then within 48 hours, that congressional message and all the information that I gave them and emailed them, they contacted the post that I was complaining about. And then that's when that investigation started. So it's a quick process. But like he said, if you make a phone call, I think the phone call is the faster answer to a response.
Okay.
You know, so I never done email, but every time I've actually done that, I made a phone call, and the turnaround is very, very fast.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. And I think sometimes it depends whether or not they're in session and who you're talking to. You know, on a national level, these guys are in session, and then they take off, and the same thing on your state and local.
I feel like,
but they're still going to respond if there's someone there to answer, or you get a machine.
I was gonna say, from my standpoint, in kind of how I grew up in the tech age, I'm so used to putting in phone calls to companies or to businesses or whatever, and you feel like it just goes into the ether and it never gets heard. Like nobody ever pays attention to it.
Okay, but I would not say that. So that was the thing that I was going to interject here into the conversation you guys are having. I think yes. Send emails, yes, write, yes, call. I'm for all of that. But there's this newfangled thing that the Egyptians invented called social media. And some of you gun guys might have heard about this. And the thing about this is that, look, we're going to talk about Vox here in a minute, right? And what's going on with Louder with Crowder.
And how powerful this is.
Yeah, and how Vox used social media pressure to force YouTube to defund Louder with Crowder. We're going to get into it. But we can do that same thing. These guys have social media.
On the flip side, Mike is saying that, no, they actually pay attention. Like somebody will tell them, hey, you're getting a bunch of phone calls on this. You should pay attention to it.
Well, I agree with that.
That's a good thing. That's a really great thing.
I agree with that, but they also care about their social media, and they're going to respond to that. I mean, Trump is another thing that evidences that, right? Trump, what has he got, 20, 30, 40 million people to follow him on Twitter? I'm not saying he's listening to everyone. I'm saying all these other politicians want to be big on social media, and if all of a sudden they're getting massive pushback about something, absolutely, it may not be them running it. It may be a staffer. But if those staffers start to notice, hey, you're getting a lot of blowback on this thing on social media,
bring it to his attention.
Yeah, it matters to you. It matters to most of us out. I know there's going to be the person who says, I don't have any kind of social media. I'm watching you right now with a tinfoil and an antenna
plugged into a toaster.
And that's awesome. If you're watching on your toaster, you got a phone somewhere.
More power
Pick it up. Make an old school phone call. It's not hard. And if you got a smartphone, it's really easy. You just type it in. If you're using Google, they already know where you live. They're going to throw in the results for you for where you're at anyway. If you should be using DuckDuckGo, so you actually have to tell them what you want rather than Google just being like, all right, well, we know he's sitting exactly in this spot. We're
plugged into the matrix, man. We're plugged into the matrix. Don't get it.
Anyway,
red
Google's
pill or the blue pill?
Tell you who it is. The phone number is going to be right there. All you have to do is click it. And then, depending on what type of phone you're using, you either have to click again to call or it's already dialing and, answer the phone and be like, I'm not happy. Yeah. Tell them why. They'll ask for your name.
And be cordial. That's another big thing.
Yeah, be cordial. Because these staffers, and I have never run into, and I've been calling, even when I lived when I lived in real Northwest Indiana, in Hammond, Indiana, we had the lifer Pete Visklosky was the rep up there, and that guy is a total piece of crap. But I would call, even though it didn't matter, even though he didn't care. He's been in office like 90 million years, right? He wins re-election by like 90%. It's ridiculous. And I think he's still there for last I checked. But because I'm no longer in his district at all, thank God. But every time I called and spoke to one of his staffers, and there's super left wing as you can get, they were always pleasant. I mean, I was always calling to complain, but they were always pleasant. They were always great. There was always a great interaction. Now, obviously, he would take my ideas and throw them in the trash, but it was always a pleasant interaction. And I never felt, no matter how unhappy I was, I never felt compelled to yell or scream at one of the staffers because they were pleasant, and chances are one of the staffers are there on an intern program ship or whatever. They may not even agree with his politics anyway. So yeah, definitely be cordial to the staffers. And I would also say this: if you have a rep who goes the way you want them to, call back and thank them for taking whatever position they want. That I kid you not, because I've gotten some great responses. I live now in what's mostly a somewhat solid leaning conservative district. So I've called a couple times where the representative actually supported something that I've liked, And I've called back and I said thank you, and they appreciate it. And I actually got a follow-up letter and stuff like that. So, which was kind of cool. Yeah. So definitely take time to make those calls. It means a lot. And I can tell you, I've spoken with several different from Senator Mike Braun to my current representative now, and guys on the state level, including Jim Lucas down south in Indiana, who's a big proponent of constitutional carry here in Indiana. The phone calls mean the world.
Yeah.
Good. Anyway, I don't want to harp on that.
I'm on board. I'll make some calls tomorrow.
I just want to reiterate this again, because I think all those are good things. Social media, though, people, we are missing out on this. These people are vain. They want to see a lot of interaction. If they see their Twitter blowing up when they wake up in the morning, or their Facebook or something like that, they're going to look at it and go, oh, there's something negative. It's too late now. It's already in your brain. It's a brain worm and acting on you. But then other people are looking at their social media, so they could try to ignore it all they want to. Other people are looking at that. And then go up against the people who are running against them that probably do believe in the Constitution. There's lots of politicians out there that don't get a chance, right? Because they get overridden by the establishment. And if we use social media, we could boost those guys up and help those guys push the guys who aren't listening to us out of the way. This is a powerful tool we're not using. I'm going to transition into talking about this Vox Crowder thing, but it happened here. It happened here, and we can make it happen on our end. To be honest with you, right? They're going around trolling us, doing all kinds of things to silence our voice. We need to use the same exact weapons that they're using against us against them. So. Babyface, do you want to jump into this whole thing that happened with
so
Crowder?
For anybody that's not aware, the Adpocalypse 2.0 is probably just over the horizon. When I say that, I mean like within the next couple days to weeks, YouTube Adpocalypse 2.0 is going to hit. And the reason for that is YouTube has decided to make some more changes because of pressure from Vox. They're making changes to their policies on what is allowable content, what's considered hate speech, things like that. Because Vox, a
reporter there,
well, if you want to call him,
he makes videos.
You call him a reporter? He makes videos for Vox's YouTube channel. His name's Carlos Maza, I believe. Yeah. Has gotten into a scuffle, a digital scuffle with Steven Crowder, and
Crowder apparently said some mean things about him that he didn't like.
Basically, yeah. So Steven Crowder has been, every time this Vox guy puts out and that's all he does. So all he does is put out anti-right wing. Yeah.
By the way, this guy Mazo, he has actually encouraged people to attack conservatives and people on our side with milkshakes and whatever it takes, but that's fine. There's YouTube. No one else is worried about these guys throwing things at human beings that have chemicals. I'm not, obviously, a regular milkshake's not going to do that. I'm going to be mad that you wasted a milkshake.
Perfectly good milkshake.
But there could be other things in there. It's not
Steven. So the thing here is, Steven Crowder has come out and he said, he said mean things about this guy, and about his sexuality and who he is. One problem there is this guy is, at least the character he plays of being super left-wing gay guy, that's who he is. So it's not like he's making up anything about him. He's just using that against him.
Yeah.
He doesn't like it, obviously.
So he started a campaign, and at first YouTube took a look at it. They said, we don't see anything here. They kept pushing it. I think one of the things that came up is Crowder has a T-shirt that says, it says figs.
Socialism is for figs.
Yeah, socialism is for figs.
I, and where the I would be is a little fig branch.
Yeah.
So they seem to think it stands for something else, but I mean, if you have to read into it, obviously. Yeah. But it says on the face of it, communism is for figs. Right. So YouTube has pulled his monetization until he removes that shirt from sale, which is insane that a company can say, we don't want you selling this product. We're going to demonetize you. Mm-hmm. Well, it's nuts.
Yeah.
But they're winning from a certain aspect. Vox is now winning this fight because they're getting people in mass demonetized, and it's basically only right-wingers with political opinions opposite to his.
Now, on top of that, YouTube said it's not connected. I don't have the exact article pulled up here. I could probably look it up. But on top of that, YouTube came out yesterday and said that they have new YouTube rules.
Yeah, so that's the big scary thing. They're coming out with new guidelines on what is acceptable on YouTube. Yeah. And let me say something real quick before anybody. And again, I know we're preaching to the choir here. Hate speech doesn't exist. I'm just going to say that now. Anybody can come at you and say, "Oh, it's hate speech." Hate speech doesn't exist. It's not a thing. There's free speech and there's call to action. Those are the two things. There's no such thing as hate speech. So if anybody ever gives you that load of shit, it's a load of shit. There's no such thing as hate speech. There's a difference between free speech and calling to action, saying like fire in a crowded building. That's call to action. Yeah. Free speech is free speech. Call to action is call to action. There's no hate speech. So
people could say things you don't like, but what does that mean? I think
Fox wants to say that it's all hate speech, and hate speech should be allowed on their platform. There's no such thing as hate speech. So let's just get rid of that right off the bat.
Yeah.
Sorry, that one sets me off.
There is a such thing as a hate speech.
Call to action is call to action.
Yeah, call to action is that, but a hate speech is a real thing. It's just a matter of how are you actually trying to verbiage right now. But hate speech is real.
You can label it as hate speech, but it's free speech.
Well,
no. I'm not saying what you're saying is false. I'm just saying hate speech is a real thing.
Well, okay. So in terms of someone could say something hurtful, hateful, or potentially destructive, or inciting violence. Yes, human beings can say whatever the hell they want to, But you can listen to if you listen to music. Any kind of music out there, there's lots of crazy, hateful things in there. Right. Or if you look at movies, you read a book or whatever. And I think, yes, there's things that people out there say that we don't like. A guy in the Ku Klux Klan could say something that would make me and you, Mike, very pissed off, probably make Joe and Patrick pissed off as well. But what Patrick is saying, technically, this categorization of that as hate speech, and they don't have the right to say that is not really true. They have the right to say what they want to say. Then we can we know who they are, and they put it out there. That's I'm not saying it's a good thing, but it's something that now we know where they're at, right? They have the ability to express themselves.
I think a good way to put it is like it's like Orwell's 1984, where they came up with newspeak. And just because someone is exercising their right to free speech, and that speech is coming from a hateful place, it doesn't then put it into a qualifying category of hate speech, which makes it somehow illegal. Yes. And I think that's where the distinction comes from, because what if you would have told me the term hate speech even just 2 or 3 years ago, I would have no problem using that, people using that moniker, because it was hateful speech, hate speech. It makes sense. Under the way that it's used 99% of the time in the media today, hate speech is an actual category. And how it's being used and categorized in Europe and in Canada, hate speech is a legal definition in Canada and I think almost everywhere in the EU now. Hate speech is a legal definition of mean, hateful things that are illegal to say. Not anything that's a call to action, but and that's where I think the distinction where Patrick and I know myself are definitely coming from, is that just because speech is coming from a place of someone who has hate in their heart, doesn't mean that it should be categorized as illegal, and that's why I want to avoid the term hate speech personally, because now in like I said, Europe, Canada especially, hate speech is a legal technical term and definition.
I mean, to be
I don't even want to use that term in our verbiage.
Exactly.
I mean, to be more specific, someone could say something that we consider, hey, that's very racist, or that's offensive, or whatever, and then that's a completely different thing for us to deal with. The question is that person not allowed to say what it is they feel? Sure, they're allowed to say it, and they're allowed to feel that way and express that feeling, and then we're allowed to judge them based off of that.
See, that's the thing, is the best way to combat, and the left doesn't want to, I'd say the left doesn't believe this. The best way to combat, quote unquote, hate speech, whatever, let those ideas bubble to the surface and let people show their true colors, because the mass amount of people are going to disagree with it. Let somebody come out and be super racist or whatever. 98% of the country is going to be like, whoa, I don't like that.
How can we deal with them? I don't know where.
Yeah.
I don't know if you see where we're coming from on that, Mike, because I don't want to make it look like everyone's beating up on you.
No.
Because I think you brought up a good point. Yeah, but we need to be able to deal with them, right?
Yeah. Only thing I'm saying is like everything Babyface was saying. I'm not saying he was right or he was wrong. But when he made the comment, there's no such thing as hate speech. I was like, no, hate speech is real. That's the only thing I was saying. It's just decipher your meaning. That's the only thing.
In terms of people who say hateful things, yes, but people always do that.
It's going to be there forever. There's always going to be people who hate other people for any number of reasons. Yeah,
but there's look at the things. So, for example, one of the things that was in the news here, I guess Kanye West did an interview with David Letterman, and he was talking about the MAGA hats,
I watched
right?
that.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I did see the clip of this thing. I'm gonna look at it in my own time. I don't really like David Letterman. I looked at a couple of those shows though. I think he's doing a relatively good job. I just don't personally like him. But that's you know, the thing is that hate speech for someone to have on their hat "Make America Great Again"?
Of course not.
Yeah,
that's like, and this is gonna be a maybe a bad example, but the. Do you guys remember the signs, the "It's okay to be white" that came out, a year ago?
The signs?
You don't remember that? People were plastering signs around places that said "It's okay to be white." It's a very, very, on the surface, yes, obviously.
Did you see that? Did you see that, Mike?
Yeah. That came out around the time when it was the big hashtag Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
all of that stuff is free speech. Yeah.
It's free speech, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think so if we take those kinds of things is it wrong to be white? No, it's okay to be whatever you are. It's okay to be white, purple, orange, whatever it is you are. It's okay. Now if you're out there and you are a hateful person who's inciting other people to hurt other people, yes, we all as a society will deal with you, but we need to be able to identify you for what you are.
I have faith in society that we can, in a sense, self-govern what we want, what's acceptable to society. Like going out and being racist to people or whatever, your everyday person's not going to be acceptable to that. It's just not it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I think free speech, especially. We can look at things in the past and have academic debates about the viability and the need for some of the certain things in laws in the past. But when we look here today, especially in today's context in 2019, as it's called, the marketplace of ideas, right? When you're able to talk out loud, especially today, and get these things into the open, let people expose themselves for who they really are. All right, let these ideas come out, let people talk back and forth about them, and show you get to see from a perspective of, and it doesn't matter what age you are, to be able to see where certain people with certain mindsets are coming from. It makes that idea, there's the term toxic masculinity. To use the true term toxic, when you look at these people with these hateful, toxic points of view, and they expose themselves, it really truly brings out into the marketplace who they are, where it's coming from, and the true agenda behind where they're coming from, right? Because if you let these things fester in the dark and hidden, that is what really brings about these horrible
it makes
outcomes.
It worse.
Right, it makes it worse. And I think we can see over the span of how things developed from LGBT rights, at least initially up until now, this point where you have men competing as women, so that's a separate issue. But at least as far as the acceptance, right? I mean, you look at the like Seinfeld, right? That whole line, and there's nothing wrong with that. That alone did more to advance equality in that aspect than any law could have done, right?
Yeah.
So and that's just from a pop culture standpoint more than anything. But I'm trying to use big examples here that everybody's would be familiar
I understand
with.
what you're saying. Look, I think free speech is a very important thing. That's why we're lingering on this a little bit longer. Just imagine, for example, one of the things that helps me get through existence helps me get through life is comedy, right? So let's say we imagine a world, and it's we've got lots of kinds of comedians out there, men, women, black, white, everything in between. Let's say we imagine a world where a black comedian can't get up on stage and talk about white people. Because we're like, oh no, you are not allowed. We classify that as racism, what you're saying, because you're talking about this. If you can't get up there and say something that we can laugh about, we'll know. We know where that line is. Like, okay, now you're being mean and you're going over the line. Oh no, you just said something, that I think is funny, it's relative or whatever. That's where like this whole free speech thing comes in if we really take that away, because there are countries on the face of this planet where you actually cannot do that.
Quickly, before we get too far, did you want to get to Forge for Freedom's comment?
Oh yeah. Let me throw
he gave
this.
us $10. Yeah, I didn't want to. It's about to expire. I want to make sure we get.
Oh yeah. Okay. So Forge for Freedom gave us $10. Thanks a lot, Sam. He says the top corporations that control our daily lives call all the shots. PayPal recently restricted us because they didn't like a FUBAR shirt we sold. We created these monsters, and we have to end them. So there you go. Yes, very true. Agree with that. And thanks, by the way.
Yeah, I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try and avoid PayPal for everything I can do. At our swag shop, I don't take PayPal. I use was it Swipe? It's called Swipe. Swipe is the other one. Apparently, they're anti-gun too, as it turns out now. But I don't know what kind of alternative I have other than those two things, because it's through big cartels. So
yeah,
what am I going to do? But
here's the thing I'm going to say about that. Like, so contribute us with Gunstreamer. We're on Gunstreamer. They have their own thing like Patreon, and it goes through PayPal. Here's the thing: if we don't create something, this is one of the things I wanted to talk about. If we don't get together as a community, this whole thing going on with Louder with Crowder and the YouTube Adpocalypse Part 2, 3, whatever's coming at us, if we don't get together and create our own things, we're done for. So it's better to have something than to have nothing in the beginning. We all hate PayPal, but we got to have something until we make the thing that we can rely on, and then we can all move over to that thing.
It's really scary how tech is being weaponized against, and I say the right because I consider myself very much center right, but I see that tech is being weaponized against the right specifically, and it's scary that there's an idea that like, oh, I can't use PayPal any longer because I have an idea that they're the thought police. They disagree with something that I think is correct. And so their service is not eligible to me. Like that's terrifying.
Yeah. That
we have to create our own products or our own services, and like segregate ourselves out from the. It's awful. That idea is awful, but it's true.
Yeah, it is awful. Let me just get to this super chat from Hot Mess Express. Thanks a lot. Here's their message. Try being gay, a Republican, studying the Russian language on Facebook. They think I'm a effing robot. Yeah.
Gosh.
So, yeah, it's a tough thing. So here's the thing about that, like segregation. Sometimes I think that's the best thing in the world. And here's what I mean by that. Look, first of all, because of what we all believe, we don't want to make these companies into utilities. We don't want to create laws and regulate them because we're libertarians and we want smaller government and all that. That's one. But two, I think like even let's say we go back to the like the black thing, right? Black communities. A long time ago, they were segregated by law and other things, but they had their own communities and they were doing their own things, and their money stayed within that community more. Today, because those things have gone away, I think there was a study somewhere, you can look it up, like when a black person makes $1, it just eviscerates into the world and goes out there. So now some people looking at this might go, well, who cares? We're all supposed to be blended. But I think when it comes to what we're doing as gun guys, the money needs to stay in the community too. We need to have our own ecosystem for that reason, because then we have the power. When we give up this power, then you can have banks coming and going, guess what? We don't like that business you're doing. You're out.
Yeah.
So
and
this is the thing about that.
We're to that point. I think if you would have told gun people 5 years ago, hey, start looking at businesses that allow what you do, we would have been like, that's crazy. But we're to that point now where it's like,
yeah.
It's scary.
Listen, I would say if someone asked me right now, do I think YouTube should be a utility? Yes. Do I think PayPal and other things need to fall under that category? Yes, I do. But I am not going to spend my life trying to do that. Instead, here's the thing I have more control over. I could talk to you guys. I could preach to the choir. I could say, please, guys, I'm begging you. Babyface, you know this, right? I've burnt a lot of time trying to talk to people and tell them and work with companies that are trying to do this, even though I know hey, there's a high likelihood these companies may fail. I'm trying my damnedest, to get people to get together and get their own platforms. Let's make banks. Let's create platforms. Let's set ourselves up so these guys never have control of what we do. And it doesn't mean that you have to get off YouTube. I'm not saying that. But if we create our own ecosystem, then we can take care of each other, and there'll be something in there for all of us. There'll be something for the manufacturers, something for the folks on our side that create content, for the audience, for everyone out there, right? We can help politicians. If we see someone that this guy believes in the Second Amendment, we can help that person get into office instead of having to rely. The Republican Party is just as much a pyramid scheme as freaking the NRA.
Yeah.
So I think we really need these things. This is what happened with the NRA. We've left it up to the NRA. They're a big, massive behemoth. We all were just blindly giving them money. Look at do they give a shit about us?
No, not at all.
That's
what Barnauls should have done instead of buying ARFCOM.
But they can't buy the NRA. The NRA is locked in and owned by
not the NRA.
Right.
I meant they should have tried to come up with their own payment processing thing or something.
Mm-hmm. Maybe they're working on that.
Yeah,
I don't know. That would be fantastic if they were. Hey, one more thing on this whole box thing that's not necessarily gun related or truly political speech related. One of the things they say they're going to crack down on is flat Earth conspiracies. Now, obviously, the flat Earth is ridiculous because if the Earth was flat, cats would have pushed everything off by now.
Yeah,
so we've settled that.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up here. Yeah.
Right. So
they said they're going to crack. Hold on, I'm sorry, Joe. Let me just get this in real quick. They said they're cracking down on channels that advocate neo-Nazism, white supremacy, and other bigoted ideologies in an attempt to clean up extremism and hate speech on their service.
I like how they focused on right-leaning hate speech only.
Yeah.
Right.
And should be using that.
If you dig down into that, all their things also say conspiracy theories.
Mm-hmm.
So things like people who say Sandy Hook didn't happen, and they specifically reference that and flat earthers. Mm-hmm. And the only reason why I bring up the flat earther thing is, again, cats would have pushed everything off, so it's not. But
it's a good. I like that.
You've got the ice walls.
You can't argue with that.
Cats push anything off a flat.
The ice walls are stopping the cats.
What I heard out of that, everything you just read was, hey, we're going to do what we want to do. If you don't support what we believe, you just deal with whatever punishment.
We're going to categorize you as a neo-Nazi, as an extremist.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, I mean, again, only because of the flat thing. There was a time, right, when Magellan was doing his thing and, trying to sail around the globe and, the Earth is round, right? That was the vast scientific consensus at the time was that was insane, the Earth was round.
Mm-hmm.
Only point being is that today, whatever the next thing could be, right? And I have no idea what it is because I don't know yet until somebody figures it out. The back of the moon is made of cheese. I don't know. Whatever it is, right?
Yeah, I think we're riding on the back of a great tortoise. The planet is
a tortoise.
It's a big tortoise, and we're riding on his back, and he's moving through the universe.
People need to be able to get that information out there.
Yeah.
And however it's vetted, however it's received in the marketplace of free ideas, it is going – if it's true, it'll prove itself out. And if it's not, it's going to fall flat on its face. Again, it's freaking 2019. Let people make their own decisions. Right? And by pushing all this stuff underground, you wind up with all these – bizarre, crazy things that happen, be it wherever you come down at, be it, we've seen the more they crack down on people who are against vaccines, and I'm not taking any sides here, the more we wind up seeing a greater growth of that anti-vaccine community, right? The more they continue to crack down, the more they continue to try and suppress it, rather than letting these things into the free marketplace so that you can say, hey, right? They dismiss it, they try and push it under the rug, and it continues to grow the exact opposite of what they want.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the dangers that I see, is that all the whatever extreme or bizarre thing, or what may be a good thing to come out of it, is going to get marginalized. The good stuff will get marginalized, and the bad stuff will continue to grow and fester under the surface because it's not allowed to be talked about.
Yep.
That's what really disturbs me.
What they don't realize is the youth go the opposite way. More and more people that I talk to, I was talking to someone today by text, and he was telling me, hey, my kids don't believe this crap that these guys are pushing. It's making younger people conservative. You know, it's, if you think back to like the 80s and 90s when everyone was saying hip hop's bad, you can't listen to it, you got to put these warnings, and make kids go, oh, I got to listen to that.
How'd that
now.
work?
Yeah, yeah. Imagine if Apple came out and said, you know what, we don't want conservatives, we don't want people who believe in guns using our devices. That's the end. That's the end for them. If they actually went out there and said, oh, we're looking at your phone and you're doing gun stuff, you can't use our thing. Okay, you can do that if you want to. You're gonna create the industry that destroys you by doing that. Mm-hmm. You know, because some enterprising person, this is what capitalism should be, this is what we hope it is, will go out there and say, okay, I'm gonna make a phone that doesn't give a crap about all of that doesn't care about your thing. So when we have companies out here pushing their message on us, ultimately what they're doing is they're shooting their own selves in the foot. It's kind of tough because we're all living through it. And, you know, it's a thing that we have to deal with every day. I see it. I mean, I could tell you guys so many things that are going on behind the scenes. But, you know, I think ultimately what it means is we have to stand up. Like we were talking about D-Day today, and you're talking about young men, you know, 18, 19, 20 years old, on a boat knowing that they are highly likely, everyone that they're looking at is going to die in the next 30 minutes. You know, and they're going out there and they're doing it so that we could do this. All of this came out of that. You know, so what are we going to be willing to do? What fears are we going to be willing to face so that our kids continue to have this freedom or get more freedom, right? We have to be willing to face something that we're like, man, if I do this, if I get into this, I could lose my shirt, I can go out of business, I could be broke, and all that kind of stuff. We have to be fearless about that, I think.
You know, one thing, since you brought back up D-Day again, when I was over in Germany, you know, technology has increased tremendously from the time of World War II to now. Mm-hmm. And, of course, you know, in the military, they give us clothing that assist with keeping us warm. Mm-hmm. And I just put it in perspective of back then, those guys didn't have that technology. Them cats were tough back then. 'Cause I cry when it gets cold. You know what I'm saying? But
some people just not built for it.
Yeah,
they were tough guys
back then.
Yeah. And if you look at it, we're giants compared to a lot of those people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In terms of like our
the
size.
average person's grown 3 inches in the past 100 years, something like that.
Yeah.
The average height for people is 2.5 inches tall or something like that. It's the average.
Yeah.
One of World War II movie. I don't know if anybody saw it back when it was out in December. We were soldiers.
Yeah, the one they recolored.
Yeah, the one they recolored.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was I saw that in the theater, and that was unbelievable how moving that movie was. It was just it was crazy. So if it comes back out in the theater, they do a re-release of it, something like that. You should definitely go see it.
Walter was talking
crazy
about it.
what they went through in World War II in those trenches, and they went through a number of different things. But I mean, I can't.
It was World War I, wasn't it?
Yeah, World War I was a lot of the trench warfare, and it was just insane what they went through when they went into those trenches, what they were dealing with and not just the trenches. I mean, there was this focused primarily on the European theater, but I mean, in the trenches. But I mean, it was just
what was the timing of World War I?
1914 to 1918.
Okay, so just think about that.
Pretty darn close.
Let's say roughly 100 years ago.
Yeah.
We're living on a completely different planet.
Yeah.
This is a completely different planet today.
If you brought somebody from that time forward to now, they would have no idea how to
survive. They would lose their minds.
Yeah.
You know, completely.
Really,
this is completely, entirely a different place. And that's just 100 years ago. Literally 4 generations. I think generations are going by 25 years, right? I don't want to get this. Yeah.
Something like that. 20. Is it 20 or 25?
So four generations or like 4 people ago. So your great grandfather, right? Living in those times. Completely different completely different world today, man, that we're dealing with. But it's still the same us. We haven't changed that much. Everything around us has changed. Technology has changed. The things that we could do. Just think like I think they had cars back then, but probably not a lot of people were able to roll around in cars and stuff like that. Imagine today you get some kind of car and it's like, yeah, there's no power steering in this. Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, no one's buying a car unless you can connect your phone.
Well, you can go to the gym and get a workout.
Yeah, it's a completely different thing. And if you think about it, like I saw someone saying that it had to be boring. There was no time to be boring. You had to do everything.
Yeah, you didn't have
you were working. There was no such thing as free time like we have it now.
No,
leisure time. I mean, you were maybe Sunday after church. You got half an hour to sit down and eat with the family. I mean, you were working from sun up to sundown every single day. Everything was. I mean, it took 3 days to do the laundry for it was that kind of ridiculousness, right?
Yep.
Yeah. It's just amazing, an amazing world. They didn't have this thing that they could just pull up and go,
They shall
oh,
not
I want to
grow
know
old.
about this.
Yes.
They shall not grow old. Okay.
Yeah, it was
Yes.
World War I recoloring.
So, okay, Lola wants us to talk about this because this did come out today, just kind of like a pop culture thing, a complete switching around here. High Point, I don't know if you guys saw the episode that we actually had someone from High Point on the show. We actually had a representative from High Point on the show. So High Point has this thing. Let me see. I'm going to go to do you have the website there that you go to? So they're coming out with a new pistol, new gun. And right now it's loosely called the 9 pistol. But they're giving everyone an opportunity to be involved in naming it. I'm trying to find the link. Is this the link in here? Oh, where is this link to this thing? Okay, I'm just going to have to go to High Point's site. Unless you have that link, Patrick.
I don't have it handy. I'd have to go find it.
I'm trying to pull up the link. I know Lola's going to go, and I sent you the link.
Hank wants to...
Yeah. No, I just gave Lola credit. She's going to say, I sent you the link. How come you didn't see the link? Because I wasn't prepared.
Somebody already owns highpoint.com. Let me try this. I don't think I've ever gone to High Point's website before.
There is a link. Hold on, let me see.
i-pointfirearms.com.
Yeah,
there we go.
I'm trying to pull up the link right now because there's a direct
Oh my
link.
God, look at this. Right on their main page, there's a button here to join the NRA. I'm out.
Yeah, they got to change that.
I don't know what that is.
They definitely have to change that.
Name the 9.
Is the 9 on their page? Because still in this thing I'm looking at here, there's not the link.
On the scroll, there's like 5 different scrolls that come up, and it's the first one that says name the 9. I try and click on it, and nothing happens.
I've never seen their website. Name the 9.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not a button.
There's a link underneath it now. June 6th through the 13th. Submit a model number for the new pistol. Then click here to win. Cast your vote. Come back on whatever June 18th, whatever it is.
Where the hell do you? I agree to the sweepstakes
Click
rules.
here. Click here to enter. Okay, so it's like a sweepstakes. Here, I'll throw.
No, I got it. I just threw it up in chat.
Okay, I'm throwing it up anyway because I was looking for it all this time. So it's happening. It's getting thrown up.
I just put it in there. It's already in chat. Oh, you just copy. Look at that. Just copying me.
Yeah, someone says be
name
nice
the
to
9.
Lola.
Now it's got a threaded barrel on it.
Yeah, I'm always nice to Lola.
So,
I married her.
So,
how much nicer can I be?
So what are y'all thinking? We promised.
Don't. Why did you ask?
We already have it. Hank Point 9. This is why I'm bringing it up. I'm starting the campaign. You guys have to help me. This is not a choice. This is a dictatorship, and I am the chief dick. Hank Point 9. Hank Point
Gunny
9.
McGunface 9.
Raphael has it. Gunny McGunface 9.
I like it already.
I love it. That's it. Boom.
No.
Done.
Hank Point 9. Hank Point 9, people. Let's do this. Come on. You guys are not with me on this one?
I like Hank Point 9, but I got to tell you, I'm digging the Gunny McGunface.
No, forget. I'm blocking Rafael Morales right now. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that. Listen, they're not going to go with any ridiculous things, I think, at the end of the day, but I'm going to encourage
Are you saying a High Point is like the British government? That's what you're saying right now. High Point is like the British.
Maybe
that's
a
what
little
I heard.
bit. When they were on, they said they're not doing anything ridiculous.
Rafael Morales, I just entered Gunny McGunface 9 as an option.
Oh wow, et tu, babyface. Yeah, you're not gonna join me on my campaign. Okay, I'm mad now.
Hashtag Hank is nuts.
Hank point nine. Oh, come on, let's do. Okay, Mike.
Hank
Mike, I know you're with
gotta-
me. You got to keep it real for the culture. You got to do it for the culture, man. Are you with me on this? No.
I actually love my Walther.
Oh, jeez.
So-
Man, I can't. Yes. So listen, everyone, go put it in there. Put in your entry, Hank point nine. Let's do it. You can do the Gunny McGunnerson thing all you want to. Go in and do another entry. I'm gonna do mine right now.
I'll do a Hank point nine.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go in and use my other email address and go do Gunny McGunface.
Yeah.
There's no way I can't not do that. There's no way.
Yes. Okay.
Everybody.
Fine.
So definitely, for everybody in the chat, definitely don't do Gunny McGunface. Do not do that. You definitely shouldn't do that. You should definitely do Hank point nine. Definitely don't do Gunny McGunface.
Oh, babyface.
Again, don't do Gunny McGunface.
Yeah. Yeah. You see what I have to deal with here?
I think the name sounds cool that Hank expressed.
Yes.
I do agree with
okay. Yeah, Hank point nine. We have a chance. We can do it. Oh, you got to put your phone number.
What you could do, it could be the High Point H9. Oh, H9. No, can't do that. Hudson used that, didn't they?
Well, yeah. What was the Hudson? It was something H9.
So it can't be the H9 standing for.
No. Hank point nine, babyface P.
All right, there we go. Boom, it's in. Hank point nine.
God, they're gonna look through these and be like, "What on earth?"
Yeah.
I would love to see.
So I'm gonna pop up my screen just to show everyone like me filling out the thing.
Type this out to a spreadsheet, and I would love to see the spreadsheet of what they got, because it has to be horrible and hilarious things at the same time.
But it's gonna be some real comedians that comment on that.
Yeah. I think we have a choice. I think we have a chance at the Hank point
There
nine.
it is.
People.
Hank point nine.
Yes.
My confirmation.
Hank point nine. Okay. Thank you very much. Let's get it going here. We can make this happen.
I wonder if they do name it that, will Hank actually get some type of residual off of it?
I will donate all the proceeds to charity. I'll donate it to the GOA.
There you go.
If it's actually named,
if it's named
the Hank point nine, all the money goes to the GOA, and so we can divert whatever NRA thing is on the High Point website. We'll donate. We'll get all that money going over to the GOA. I'll even let you guys put my logo up on that gun. Might sell one or two.
So, what if they actually send you the gun? Would you keep it?
Oh, Hank loves High Points. Are you kidding me?
I know.
I've got a High Point. I've got two High Points. Actually, we're doing. I think I just put up a video today from High Point.
So how about this then? If they was the name you stated, and then they give you one, would you sign one of your old ones and give it away, or
no? If they gave me one, I would give it away. It's cool. I got no problem doing that. I would get.
I just figured because I know you like High Points, and I just figured you want to keep the newer one and give away an older one.
Yeah, but I mean, come on, it's gonna be very affordable. We can buy a bunch of those. So I would definitely, if they sent me one, we could customize it. We could put my face all over it. We could do it something like I don't know if you guys have seen this, but something like how I customized my my knife here.
That looks
my
awesome.
Microtech.
Yeah.
We'll customize it like that, and we'll have that High Point all. The High Point 9 will be all out in the world. That's all I'm saying. I'm starting a campaign. I'm going to get them to come back on here too.
Do it.
We'll keep this. We'll keep this going. Although I know Babyface is going to be immediately. I don't think Babyface. I don't think he put in the thing for the Hank Point 9.
That would be a great follow up. The Hank Point 9 would be a gret follow up to the CZ P10C. Threaded barrel that I have. That's just the working title for that video is going to be "Bad Luck or Hot Garbage." I mean,
all of the above.
All of the above.
Yeah.
So God, I got to call their warranty service tomorrow and send this thing back.
So
and then the question is, when I get it back, do I just, as soon as they get it back, don't even fire it, just sell it with a clean conscience that it runs and just get rid of it, or do I see if it? Do I see how it does?
Come on now, if it runs, you gotta give it a chance.
I know. I will. I guess I shouldn't have expected much for $400. Literally this. I just saw the email from. It's not it's one of it's the same site I bought it from. And they're selling the threaded CZP-10C threaded barrel suppressor height sights. It's $379 now. And now I know why they keep plummeting in price. I haven't looked it up, but word must be out. This thing is crap.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
And
so...
I call it what you want, but I get frustrated with this stuff, right? It's 2019. You shouldn't need a break-in period for a gun. If you're going to advertise as a suppressor host, it should probably run with cans, right? And it's finally now after a couple hundred rounds, it's mostly broken in. But at the same time, come on, guys, it's I don't know. I didn't expect this from CZ. I've got my CZ51. I've got the 83, right? These are guns made in the 50s and 80s, and they run fine. It's 2019. What went wrong?
I don't know, man. Materials, or people just don't care anymore. Something went wrong. Yeah. Rafael Morales says you need a custom leather holster for the Hank .9. I could tell you something that I know for a fact. Andrew's custom leather does have the blank for a high point.
What you should do is, have you seen the picture?
You can get a high point, huh?
You seen the picture of the guy that put a flip flop on his belt and just stuck the gun in the?
Yeah,
that's what it needs.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what it needs. $1 flip flop.
That's ruthless, right?
Yeah. That's ingenuity. That's good old. Was he an American?
I'm sure he was.
That's all that matters. And if he was someone from Florida, that's even greater.
Oh, God, he probably was.
If he was a Floridian, that's even greater. Okay, I don't know. We went over the 9 o'clock hour. I don't know if there's any other things that you got. Yeah, because we're having too much fun.
Went by real fast.
Way too much fun going on here. If there's, let me see. Was there anything that you guys wanted to talk about that we didn't get into?
I'm good. I gotta take the dog for a walk.
Oh,
He's looking at me.
Okay. What is this? Oh, there's Florida woman. Okay, let's go through this. Let's do this really quick because Richard Hughes sent me this. Here we go. Let's see if I could throw this up. Oh, dog's got to go for a walk.
Look at him. He's staring.
Oh, he's
Wait,
adorable.
let me see. Hold on a second. Let's see. Go back to okay, go back to Buckshot. Go back. Can he hear me? Can he hear me?
No, he can't hear you.
Oh man, I was about to do a bark attack on him. See.
Look at him staring though.
Yeah, he can hear me.
His tail's wagging. He knows what we're talking about.
He knows what's
sure. Up. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he can hear me. Yeah. So, I was gonna go to this. This is a Florida story here that I'm gonna go to. So let's do this really quick. We gotta get Florida woman stabs self, tells police she was tired of living in Trump's country.
What?
A Florida woman who stabbed herself 3 times in the stomach with a kitchen knife reportedly told responding officers it was all because of President Trump. The Palmetto woman, whose name was redacted from a police report posted by the Smoking Gun, was found covered in blood standing outside her apartment on Sunday when police asked her what was wrong. She reportedly lifted up her shirt to show 3 stab wounds. "I'm tired of living in Trump's country. I'm tired of Trump being president," she reportedly told the police.
It's one way to get out of it.
So silly. It's not Trump's country. This is our country. This is America. People who get that craziness in their mind, I don't know what's wrong with you. This is our country.
I could never stab myself. That is pure crazy.
Yeah.
I hate pain. I don't want pain.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's like do we know why the guy lit himself on fire? He was wearing a USA shirt, but do we know why he lit himself on fire?
At the White House?
Know?
Oh yeah, no.
I don't know. I saw it, but I don't know why.
That's it. Not that it makes it okay, or anything, but I'm just curious. The guy lit himself on fire. We should at least know why. Yeah. Even if it's a crazy idea, we should at least know why. Because that's commitment. You got to be committed to douse yourself in whatever flammable.
I've heard that is a way to get rid of crabs.
And cleanse it with fire. Take
mice and everything else.
to strike that match, knowing or lighter, whatever it is, knowing what's about to happen. That's commitment.
Yes, on the real. Yes,
probably should have been committed a while ago, but still, it's commitment.
Yeah, that's really hardcore. So.
That's hardcore.
Yes. All right. You know what? Let's wrap it up. Let's wrap it up here. Let's see. I'm going to start with Babyface P. I don't know what your numbers are on YouTube, but we got to get people over to your YouTube.
It'll happen.
So folks out there, let's get the YouTube numbers up, people. Check out. Go ahead. Tell the folks.
I was just gonna say Babyface P on YouTube, baby_face P on Instagram. Those are my big places lately. So go find me.
Yeah, and he has a camera, so he's throwing up videos all of a sudden.
Constantly, and I love it now. Yeah. I'm hooked.
Yeah, he thinks he's all of that. He's he's a professional videographer or a filmmaker or some craziness.
Hashtag passion is real.
Yeah, okay. All right. Fine. All right, Mike, what about you? How can the people follow you out there?
I say the easiest way to follow me, start a conversation with me outside of calling me at 803-250-1256. You can follow me on Instagram or Facebook. Instagram is at Munitions Weapons Tactical. And Facebook is just M-W Tactical. But you can also do a search on Instagram for M-W Tactical. It should be the first one that pops up. And you'll see the picture of me holding a rifle, shooting down range. That'd be the easiest way. But outside of that, just follow me on my drive and my campaign to get the A-class shooting in USPSA that I am pushing for to try to accomplish by the end of this year.
Okay, very cool. Very cool. And last but not least at all, our friend Joe from 13C Gun Reviews. How can the folks follow you out there, Joe, and keep track of you? I know you've got a lot of time nowadays. I don't know how the job search situation's going on. We didn't get to talk about that.
Job search situation is but it's still moving along. So for those last time I was on the show, which is a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, roughly, I had just gotten laid off. So it's been about 3-ish weeks, coming up on 3 weeks, I think tomorrow, something like that. Still progressing well. Things are moving forward. So hopefully we'll have something locked down here in the next couple of weeks. It's one of those. It's one of those things. It just takes time. Between lining stuff up, sitting down with people, interviews, stuff like that. It's a process. Mm-hmm. But the future does look good. We did launch our Patreon. Not long ago. It was a kind of direct response to kind of this happening. Before, I did pretty well with the day job, so I funded the channel 100% out of my own pocket. But I really want to continue things going. I'm not sure exactly how things are going to scale up before things get back to normal for me anyway. But it was probably time to launch Patreon anyway. So we have that. We're 13C. Patreon.com/13C if you're interested in that. We also have our swag shop, 13c.bigcartel.com, where you get, it's all unique swag, patches and stuff like that. If you're interested in supporting us that way. And of course, just liking, sharing, commenting. If you're not subscribe to our channel here on YouTube. We're also on Full 30. We're on Gunstreamer. We're 13C on any of those. And Facebook.com/gun reviews. Check out that Charlie Brown video on D-Day, which is it's pretty cool throwback if you've seen it before and you haven't seen it, in the 30 years or whatever when it came out. And if you haven't seen it, it's kind of neat to look back at something that's 30-ish, maybe more years old now, that really has a nice perspective to it. It's refreshing to see it, as opposed to some of the stuff that's out there now. So anyway, we dropped a couple new videos, including this one, the Quarter Circle 10 Builder's Kit. So definitely check it out. And we're also, sign up for the newsletter. We're giving away a ALG Defense ACT trigger. All you have to do to be entered is just sign up for the newsletter, and we're going to give that away the end of Independence Day weekend, so about a month from now. Sign up for the newsletter. Good.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, before I throw in the end here, we've got, I think it's me and you, Babyface, tomorrow, and we have a special guest, Adam Kokesh. Is going to be joining us. Yeah, he's going to be here.
I know him from somewhere. I remember he was in the military. I can't remember.
I think he was a Marine, and he's a libertarian. I don't remember the full
thing, but the name rings a bell.
Yeah. So we're going to have him tomorrow. For the folks who know him, folks who don't know him, you'll get to know him. So that's happening tomorrow. Don't forget to follow all these guys on social media. Support these guys. It's very necessary. As I was saying, let me drop the end thing here quickly before we go. If you're not subscribed, subscribe now. Thumbs up, ring the bell, so you can be notified when we throw these videos up. This is Lifestyles with the Locked and Loaded, and that's pretty much it. Anyone have any last words out here before we go?
Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
It was fun.
Yes, absolutely. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks a lot. Peace. We are out.
See you soon.
We are out of here.